Cardinals won the toss, and they will receive. LaRod Stevens-Howling, their great return man, out as Jeff Reed gets ready to boot the ball. His hamstring, they tested it in pregame warmups, decided to make him inactive. So Andre Roberts, the rookie, who had a big receiving game in the win over Dallas on Christmas night, will be the return man for the Cardinals. And so the first game of 2011 to wrap up the 2010 season underway. It is Andre Roberts. Roberts fighting out across the 20-yard line, brought down by C.J. Spillman, where the offense will take over for the Cardinals. Let's check in down on the field and welcome Nichelle Turner. Hey, Nichelle, Happy New Year.
Hey, Chris, Happy New Year to you guys, too. Now, you were talking about Jim Tomsula is now the interim head coach. Well, the question, who is he? That's a good question. This week he called himself Jim Nobody from Nowhere, because it almost seemed like he appeared out of nowhere when Mike Singletary was fired to become the head coach. But he's actually been the defensive line coach here in San Francisco since 2007. He did coach in NFL Europe, but this is really his first stint in the NFL. The players I talked to love his energy. They love his sense of humor. Jim Tomsula does make fun of himself. He says he actually does not think he is going to get a serious look at head coach, but he says he's just here doing his job, and his whole life has been a series of one-week events. So back to you. We'll see what happens.
And his defensive line on the spot here as Tim Hightower takes the handoff as the Cardinal offense led by the rookie John Skelton, who's won 2 of his 3 NFL starts. And injury, so Jim Dre, the rookie from Stanford, gets the start over Steven Spock out with a calf injury.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them move an extra offensive lineman into that tight end position on run situations. But this is a team that needs to get their runners involved and get Larry Fitzgerald involved early.
So 2nd and 7 for Skelton. Sets to throw for Roberts, who was his go-to guy in that game against the Cowboys. And on defense for the 49ers, for the first time in 4 years, no Patrick Willis, the Pro Bowler, out with a hand injury.
Yeah, and Justin Smith is an outstanding player, a Pro Bowler. This is a very talented defensive football team, and they've played well this year. They just need some help out of their offense.
A defense that can change a game, and with 4 wide receivers in on 3rd and 4, trying to seize the opportunity.
And you want to look for pressure in this situation here against a young quarterback. You've got him in the road. This is the perfect time to bring some heat.
And it looked like they were doing that as a penalty flag flies. Our referee is Mike Carey. Referee in Super Bowl 42. Went to college at nearby Santa Clara.
You know, we talked about the tight end situation, the first play here.
Although there was a man in the neutral zone on the defense, number 76 on the offense is not protected, therefore it's a false start. Offense, 5-yard penalty.
Apologize for the microphone call of Mike Carey. We'll get that ironed out, but it was against the offense.
Well, you alluded to their situation, losing their first 2 tight ends and having to go with the rookie Jim Dre. What they did on the very first play of the game is they put Rex Hadnot in there, moved him over to the tight end position, and ran the football. So that's something we need to keep an eye on today.
He's normally a guard. Now, Jim Dre moved up after Spock was hurt in pregame warmups. Ben Patrick inactive with a hamstring injury. So it's now a 3rd and 9 as Fitzgerald is up at the top of your screen for Skelton, who has time until the 49ers swarm in and drop him at the 10-yard line.
This is a corner blitz. They bring a corner. They bring an outside linebacker. Very well executed. And when you can get them in 3rd and long like this has not been a situation where the Arizona Cardinals have been good this year. As a matter of fact, they've been about as bad as you can get. And you see here just a well-executed blitz by Brown coming off the edge, and Manny Lawson on the inside. And that's what you can expect all day. Shante Spencer, you can expect pressure on this guy on 3rd and long situation.
So Graham standing at his 1-yard line with the boot, and Ted Ginn lets the ball bounce through where he was standing, grabs his own muffed punt back at the 38-yard line of San Francisco. Some of the early games that were important for the playoff picture, the Buccaneers got their 10th win. The Saints will be the 5 seed in the NFC. And, of course, Atlanta nailed down the number 1 seed, your old team, defeating Carolina.
I'll tell you, the 2 surprises to me there, are the Tampa New Orleans, although I'm impressed with what Raheem Morris is doing down in Tampa. But I thought New Orleans would come out and play a little bit more inspired. And then Oakland and Kansas City. You know, I think Kansas City needs to go into the playoffs with some momentum. When you get beat 31-10, boy, that's going to dampen things a little bit.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye, the NFL on Fox all afternoon, on the playoff picture of those teams, so you'll be set. Of course, the NFC West decided tonight. These two teams looking up at Seattle and the Rams. On 1st and 10 from the 40, Brian Westbrook is in the game and gets the first carry and is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look at, after the early games, the playoff scenario to the moment. The Falcons clinched. The Saints will be on the road against the winner of that Seattle Ram game tonight, and Tampa Bay needs the Giants and Green Bay to lose to get in.
Yeah, they need a little help, but they won the game, and at least they're still alive, and that's what they needed to have happen coming out of that early game today.
Westbrook remains in on 2nd down 10. First possession for the 49er offense. The defense did its job. Smith hands again to Westbrook. Westbrook, remember, had the big game on Monday night when these two division rivals met earlier in the year, rushing for 136 yards, and there's some pushing and shoving going on down around midfield.
Yeah, these teams, you know, we talked to both of these teams, and they talked about it being a rivalry game. You said, hey, at 5 and 10, how can it be a rivalry game? Well, they play each other twice a year. They don't like each other. They're both embarrassed by the seasons they've had, and they want to make a statement. And so we're going to see some tussles in there today. We're going to see some feistiness. We're going to see some aggressive play.
You like that if you're a coach? You like it this early?
Absolutely. And I think if you're Jim Tomsula, you're saying, hey, you know what? I want to see my team fight early.
And the 49ers have won the last 3 in these head-to-head meetings. So now on 3rd down from the shotgun. They had trouble with snaps in that department last week in the loss to the Rams. Here comes pressure. Smith has picked up, throws, and completes near the 1st down marker to Ted Ginn.
You could expect pressure on most 3rd down situations today because neither quarterbacks have reacted real well to it. Now, this is pretty well picked up, and Alex Smith does a nice job of finding Ginn out there in the one-on-one, but it looks like he's just a little bit short, and they're going to have to throw the ball. Just needs to get it out there just a little bit further.
And the fans that have worked their way out here to Candlestick say, go for it.
I think it's a little early to be going for it here. Punt him down, pin him. You know, you've got a rookie quarterback. Your defense just had a 3 and out. Let's try to manage field position early in the game.
So Andy Lee with the boot, and Roberts waving for the fair catch and hauls it in at the 12-yard line of Arizona. So the Cardinal offense will take over for the 2nd time today, scoreless in the opening quarter. We welcome you back here in San Francisco. A rivalry game is what Larry Fitzgerald called it. Adrian Wilson called it a redemption game for the Cardinals on 1st and 10 with Tim Hightower in the backfield. Maybe try and establish the running game for the rookie quarterback. Hightower gets his pitch. Doesn't get much. They've only averaged 87 yards rushing a game the entire year.
Yeah, that's surprising to me. When you look at their numbers per carry, they're 4.4, which is 8th in the league, yet they're 31st in total yards. With the quarterback instability that they've had, with a guy like Tim Hightower, with a guy like Beanie Wells, with an offensive line shaped the way they are, and a guy like Russ Grimm coaching them, I would expect them to run the ball more efficiently and run it more often.
And you saw that percentage go down. You might get away with that when Kurt Warner's your quarterback the 2 previous seasons, but this year, plus the 5-win mark as the handoff goes to Hightower again. He tries to get outside and is out of bounds by Manny Lawson, who had the sack early.
You know, now that's 2 runs in a row, okay, and now they've gotten themselves into a 3rd and manageable. It's 3rd and 5, so that's makeable because they've been poor on 3rd and 7+. They've been as bad as you can possibly be. But they've got to stay with the run a little bit. Now, I don't mean you run it every single down, and they've had some games where they've gotten behind and had to throw it, but I think you need to find balance. To be an effective offense, especially with the quarterback situation, you need balance.
Ken Wisenhunt, the head coach who calls the offensive plays, has 4 wide receivers in here on 3rd down. No extra pressure. Skelton on the pass incomplete. Intended for Steve Preston, who did not get a catch last week. The veteran who will be a free agent after this year. Looked like that ball was tipped
Yeah, it looked like it was tipped. The 49ers rushed 4. They played zone. So far on third down, they've shown him some different looks up front, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to change up their look in the secondary. They're going to change up their look up front, and they're going to force him to try to figure out what coverage they're playing with the ball in their hands.
The rookie quarterback watches as the punt bounces and rolls at the 45, where a Cardinal touched the football, so it would be down right away at that time. Looked like the ball bounced up and hit a Cardinal player. It was Nate Clements, by the way, who tipped that pass on third down. So with 9:05 to go here in the opening quarter, after a 38-yard punt, Alex Smith will bring the 49er offense back on the field. Hope you're having a great start to your new year. The NFL on Fox from San Francisco, and Ken Wisenhunt trying to get his Cardinals to their 6th win of the year, something he's not used to after back-to-back playoff appearances.
No, this has been a really consistent team under his direction. And, you know, we talked to him the other day, and he mentioned how difficult this 17 weeks has been for him. This is not a guy that's lost a lot in his career, either here or at Pittsburgh.
And it looks like a 4-3 defensive front for the Cardinal defense on 1st and 10 as Delaney Walker is in. And the 49er offense from its own 44. Smith looks to throw and comes the other way to Vernon Davis. All the way down to the 40-yard line.
Well, this is just a fantastic play call by Mike Johnson, catching Adrian Wilson coming off the edge in a blitz and throwing the screen into it, which is exactly what you want. Watch Adrian Wilson coming off the edge here. And here's Adrian here, and he thinks he's going to get a free shot on the quarterback. And then you see Vernon Davis sneak out to the flat. What a great call. The screen versus pressure is exactly what you're hoping for when you call it.
And you said on the break, I want to talk about the matchup problems that Vernon Davis presents, and we saw an example there on a 17-yard pickup as Anthony Dixon is in. The rookie from Mississippi State carries and falls forward. And just to recap the starting lineup for the 49er offense, of course, Alex Smith, who was benched twice during the year, back as the starter, maybe his last game here as a 49er quarterback.
It could be. Now, this is a talented group. You look at Bryant Westbrook, you look at Josh Morgan, you got Vernon Davis, Michael Crabtree. The matchup today is Vernon Davis on the secondary and the linebackers of the Arizona Cardinals. If you look at the game last week versus the Cowboys, they did not match up well versus Jason Witten. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with to try to combat the great skills that Vernon Davis has.
And the Cardinals on defense call a timeout, their first of the game, and we'll have more in just a moment. 49er faithful cheering their team on 2nd down and 9.5 after the Cardinals burned a timeout. They're inside the 40 of Arizona. Jim Mora, Chris Myers, glad you're with us for the NFL on Fox.
Here's Adrian Wilson right here. He's coming off the edge.
Going to give it to Westbrook. And that was one of the things the Cardinals defense, as Wilson makes the tackle, did not want him to run all over him like he did in that Monday night game. As we check the Cardinal defense, Jim, I talked about sometimes a 4-man front, sometimes 3 as they have here.
Yeah, they move back and forth between a 30 look, a 3-4 defense, and a 4-3. This is a talented defensive group. You know, I like their secondary. Adrian Wilson is all over the field. Sometimes a liability in pass coverage, but you just saw in that last play when teams want to run the ball, or when he sets his mind to rushing the passer, this guy is a great player.
Going to the Pro Bowl, Joey Porter inactive. Rookie O'Brien Schofield getting the start at one of those linebacker spots on 3rd down for Alex Smith. The pass hauled in by Crabtree there to force a 4th down situation, and they're bringing out the punter.
Yeah, this is a situation where you'd consider going for it. You know, I think that if I'm Jim Tonsula, that I go for it here. It's 3rd and 5. You've got the ball pinned back on the 34-yard line. You've got a young quarterback on the other side of the field, and you know, you're trying to make an impression on your players. I think you start aggressive right here.
So Lee is standing at his own, or I should say the Arizona 49-yard line, and somebody jumped. Now, if this is against
offense number
Arizona,
55.
but it's not. I was going to say we good enough for a first down.
Yeah, now you definitely want to punt it.
Well, now he's a defensive line coach, so does he just rely on Greg Minuski, defensive coordinator, and Mike Johnson, the offensive coordinator, to make these kind of calls?
Well, no, I think this is a head coach decision right here, whether or not you want to go for it or not. In talking to him on Friday, he talked about spending 3 hours every night with clock management, game management, going through potential decisions that he may have to make, and that right there was the first one he had to make, a 3rd and 5 on his end of the field.
The guy from Pennsylvania, and they did not accept the 5-yard penalty, making it more difficult in theory for Lee to drop the punt in there. Andy Lee did a nice job, an excellent special teams play by the 49ers. One official is saying it's down inside the 2 as they discuss.
It looks like his foot's in the end zone there when he makes contact with the ball.
And that would bring it out to the 20.
Spillman's there. He's in position. Sometimes those guys get greedy. I'll say anything inside the 10 is good. But if you look at it here, his right foot is down in the end zone when he makes contact with the ball. So that should be a touchback.
And the officials discussing that.
The kicking ball touched the ball dead at the 1 yard line.
Mike Carey saying it will come out.
First down.
And they're going to mark it back inside the 1 yard line. Now that is something that could be challenged by Ken Wisenhunt. And he's got the red flag out. He says, "Now wait a minute. If Jim Morris saw it up there, and we saw it down here on this sideline, that's a 19-yard difference there. That's worth challenging."
You definitely challenge that one, even if it's close. Early in a game like this, and you're talking about a huge chunk of field position. There's a big difference between being backed up on your own one.
The ball was legally touching the end zone. Outside of the
Cardinals, 36% all time when it comes to challenges. Mike Carey echoing the challenge. The ruling on the field is the Jim Moore, Chris Myers, Nichelle Turner down on the field, and Ken Wisenhunt's challenge being reviewed.
While in the end zone, touched the ball, making it a touchback.
Mike Carey saying,
therefore, Arizona is not charged with a team timeout.
Reverse it and
The
take
ball
it.
will replace it to the 20-yard line.
Spillman was in the end zone, and even if it's before he gets to the ball, it's over at that point.
Yeah.
The touchback.
Foot down in the end zone, as you'll see here. His right foot will be clearly beyond the line as he makes contact with his right hand there. That is clearly a touchback. That's a good challenge by Ken, because that's an important 19 yards when you've got a rookie quarterback taking snaps behind the center.
So John Skelton with Ken Wisenhunt calling the plays. A guy who is the 3rd starting quarterback used this year behind Derek Anderson and Max Hall on injured reserve. And has surprised the staff with some of the things he's been able to do.
False start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty, still first.
These pre-snap penalties are going to kill Arizona because they are not a good 3rd and long team. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. On 3rd and 7+, they're as bad as anybody in the league. They're well below 20%. And when you start a series at 1st and 15, it usually ends up being 3rd and long.
And it hurts what you were saying. You're trying to establish a running game. You can't take running shots when you're in a hole to start. Beating Wells has checked in at 1st and 15. Under pressure. Skelton trying to get rid of the football and just does. Incomplete. And Justin Smith, the Pro Bowler, was all over him.
Justin Smith is a tenacious pass rusher. It's hard to get pressure from that defensive end position in the 3-4, but he just goes with an inside rip move right there and pulls right past Faneca.
They're going to say he's in the grasp and call that a sack.
Well, and I think they should. I think that Justin Smith deserves credit for a sack right there.
So give him 6.5 for the year.
Give him 6.5 and tell him congratulations on making it to Hawaii, because it's a credit to your tenacity and the respect that you've garnered around the league.
The 45th sack given up by the Arizona offense this year. The hole gets bigger on 2nd and 24. Wells carries, and it'll be 3rd down and long.
You know, people would ask there, why run the ball? Why not drop back and throw it? Well, it's 2nd and forever, and we've had trouble protecting so far in the game. Let's hand it up, hand it off. Let's try to get ourselves some room. I wouldn't be surprised to see him run it again here and then punt.
You see Skelton looking at teleprompter for quarterbacks, and on 3rd down, you referenced as a team specifically when he's been in difficult. That quarterback rating was not good.
That's beyond not good.
But 4 wide receivers and Jason Wright in the backfield. Pressure again, and trying for right of the screen, and it's incomplete. The 49er defense playing inspired for Jim Tomsula, their defensive line coach and one-game head coach in this scenario, led by Justin Smith. Force a punting situation.
You know, they like this guy. They like Jim Tomsula. He came in and he changed the tempo of practice. He shortened things up. He gave him new life. He gave him energy. He gave him some hope. And this guy is a very, very good football coach. He's been a head coach before. These guys want to play well for him.
Graham from his own end zone, and the lefty drops it and bounces it as it goes out of bounds, so Ginn can't get to it. Or Ginn had a punt return last week for a touchdown against the Rams, and there is a flag down back at the goal line.
Holding by the kicking team, number 82. It's a 10-yard penalty. San Francisco's elected to take it at the end of the kick, 10 yards, first down, timeout.
So they'll tack it on to where the ball was and have excellent field position when the Niners get on offense. Called himself a scheduler for a week. He even asked you, Jim Mora, for tips about running a team.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I love the smile. I love the energy. There he is greeting the 49er great Bryant Young. But this guy is trying to balance being the defensive line coach. So right now he's over here looking at the pictures from the last series. Then he's got to rush over and make game time decisions. What a great opportunity for this guy, and he deserves it. And
he's in before the game watching Alex Smith on 1st and 10, an excellent scoring opportunity, and Smith goes down the middle of the field. And a touchdown, 49ers. Ted Ginn hauls it in. 37 yards.
That's a nice ball. You know, that's when you want to take a shot. You get a short punt, you take a shot, and there's his first touchdown as a head coach. I don't even know if he saw it. I think he was over there talking to the defensive line. He's got to look at the replay.
And it looked like Ginn was going down the middle of the field, but cut to the right where two defenders, actually three, were chasing him.
Right, this is just a deep over route, and you try to suck the middle safety up and get it behind him, and you see right here when you look at the replay, they were able to get Kerry Rhodes out of the middle.
League. So Alex Smith with his 13th touchdown pass of the year. The Niners are up early.
You look at this touchdown here, a well-designed play. You bring Michael Crabtree down in motion. He's designed to occupy the safety in the corner, and then you get Ted Ginn behind him on the deep route right there. Play action, you max up the front, and a well-thrown ball by Alex Smith. Hits him in stride, right on the money, right behind the safety Rhodes, and right in front of the other safety Wilson. Very well executed, well-designed play.
50th career touchdown pass for Alex Smith, going to the former Ohio State Buckeye, Ted Ginn. Earlier we had the 100 career catch for Michael Crabtree as Roberts from inside the 5 on the return for the Cardinals. Looking for room, stopped short at the 24-yard line, where the Cardinal offense will take over.
I'm not sure that he saw the play, but he's excited about the play. You know what? I think these players are excited for him. I think they're excited to play for him today. I think professional football players are excited anytime they get a chance to compete, but this is a special situation for these guys.
So now we'll see what the defense of the 49ers continues to do against the rookie quarterback. 3 possessions, 3 3-and-outs for the Cardinals. Beanie Wells is in at running back. Hightower got the start. He goes down again. Coming from his left side, the right side of the defense, Deshaun Goldson with the sack as Ken Wisenhunt looks for the next call to play. Friday, it's the AT&T Cotton Bowl, LSU and Texas A&M. You'll see it live from Cowboys Stadium. Our coverage, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific in high definition, and you'll only see it on Fox. Well, this Cardinal offense looks a little shaky, or is it more about what the 49ers are doing defensively?
They're under assault right now. The 49ers are bringing it almost every down, and thus they're shaky.
2nd down, 18. Quick pass complete. Looking for running room with Preston. He goes nowhere. Brought down at the 15-yard line. And Nate Clements, who has been a long-time veteran with the stop, actually a loss of 1.
Yeah, and here we go, another 3rd and long, a 3rd and 19, playing right into the 49ers' hands. They're going to get a stop here. They're going to have field position. And this is just not what you want if you're the Arizona Cardinals. You've got to run the football and get yourselves in some 3rd and manages, because this is not going to work.
Skelton, who said there are twice as many passing plays in the NFL as he had in college at Fordham. In a tough spot here. On the run, and just does get rid of it. So that forces a punting situation. And it was Alex Smith who told us, Jim, and this caught both of our attention in our pregame preparation. He said the Cardinals, if you get up on them, they're the kind of team, they have the potential to shut it down.
Well, you know, I don't know that I agree with that completely. And my question back to Alex was, what happens if you guys get behind? Will you guys shut it down? You know, I think we don't give professional athletes enough credit for being the great competitors that they are. You know, I've coached a lot of games in this league, and I don't remember any time when I felt like I saw a team on either side of the field quit.
And we'll see how the Arizona defense responds. But when you talk about Cardinal problems, we know about Kurt Warner's retirement. They've started 3 different quarterbacks this season. We've had 2 different starters benched 2 different times for the 49ers, whether it was Alex Smith or Troy Smith. So from Anderson to Hall to Skelton, it's had a lot to do with the lack of success for these teams that you say are talented enough to win a division title.
I think they both have a lot of talent, but when you've got instability at that position, it creates a tremendous amount of problems, not just for the guy that's playing quarterback, but for those around him, the receiver, the timing.
On that play, Alex Smith rolled right into a sack. The rookie O'Brien Schofield, drafted out of Wisconsin.
When you look at this is this week, and you look at the 2 teams that tonight are going to be playing for the championship of this division, the Seattle Seahawks and the St. Louis Rams, and 14 of 15 starts for those quarterbacks, and then you combine what's happened with these 2 teams that are playing here today, and you just see a horrendous amount of instability. I just don't know how you win if you don't have a guy.
And Alex Smith could have been that guy. Vernon Davis said you hurt more than just the quarterback when you keep changing. On 2nd and 15, low snap, Smith has it and has Delaney Walker near midfield. Spinning, still going for the first down at the 45 of Arizona. And the ball came out at the end, but the official is saying he was down after a gain of 17. Cardinals hoping for one of those returns for a touchdown. They're 1 away from the NFL record, but quickly the official said, hey, the play was down here.
They put Walker in the slot here, and he's a guy that creates matchup problems with linebackers, and he just runs a little slant route to the inside, beats the man-to-man coverage, and he's off. And what an athlete. These guys, the 49ers have got 2 tight ends that I think are really special pass receiving type tight ends. Delaney Walker doesn't get as much notoriety as he should because he's playing with Vernon Davis.
Looks like a challenge flag is out again from the Cardinals sideline on whether that ball came out or not at the end of the play. And the ruling on the field was he was down. Ken Wisenhunt won an earlier challenge.
You know, you go back to the quarterbacks.
The ruling on
an easy one.
Sorry, well, let's see how easy this one is.
All right.
Delaney Walker makes the catch. There's a big tackle here.
I don't see anything there.
Tough to tell if the ball was taken away.
Remember now, there's got to be indisputable visual evidence before they can reverse this thing. Here, we should get something out of this angle. Knees down. I think he's down there, Chris.
Okay.
But getting, you know, these are 2 talented teams. They've got a lot of talented players on their football team, but
Let's bring in Mike Pereira, the former head of officials from our Fox Command Center, helping and watching all the games. Hey, Mike, Happy New Year.
And a Happy New Year to you guys, too, in San Francisco. Tough play here, but I kind of agree with the coach there. I don't think there's enough to overturn it.
And we don't have the same number of cameras that some other games do, so the different angles, but from what we have here, it looks like he is down. The ball is juggled a little bit, but clearly not out, Mike. It would have to be something very clear for them to overturn it.
Yeah, you got to focus on the fact that the ruling on the field was that he was down, and then you look at that shot and even see the shin down, but you can't get a look at the ball, and that's the whole thing with replay. You know, everybody discounts, you know, the initial ruling on the field, but that to me is key, and you have to look at that, and then when you get to here, you're trying to piece together, and it's tough to piece together the fact that you could prove that this was a fumble. This might be the best shot here, but the right knee is already down, and then the ball's coming out here. I think this has to stay ruling on the field stands.
And, Mike, officials look at this not only in slow motion, but they also look when they review it in live action as well.
They do. I mean, they'll look at it usually in live action first, and then especially with possession play, and then they'll slow it down.
Referees told me today before the game, Mike, to tell you do a better job at the Fox Command Center than you did when you were out on the field. So that's
so true.
I don't think I ever coached a game where I was 2 for 2.
Wouldn't you have loved as a coach to have a guy like Mike Pereira down there telling you challenge, don't challenge?
I'll tell you what, if I'm ever lucky enough to get another job, I'm going to make him the first call. You want to come work for me, sit in the booth, and give me some instruction.
I don't know if Fox would let him go. He's been a great asset during the year, and Mike Pereira will be with us through the playoffs. Of course, Fox, the Pro Bowl, the Super Bowl, the NFC playoffs. He'll be at the Cotton Bowl as well, so that any call, helping us understand the call, not just guess whether they got it right on the field or not, and in this case, they did. So 1st and 10 for Alex Smith, who talked about a cutting it loose mentality, and handing off to Anthony Dixon with a 7-0 lead.
Now, both teams right now are struggling on the run, and San Francisco thus far has had a little bit more success throwing the football.
When he said the cutting it loose mentality, he said, well, I think he said not being careless, but playing fearless.
I think that there's a difference between being fearless and being careless. You've got to always take care of the football. You've got to be schematically sound. But I think it was just that they were a little bit more cavalier in their approach to play calling.
2nd down, 11. Anthony Dixon, the rookie, remains as the pass is thrown in the direction of and hauled in right around the 20-yard line. Josh Morgan. Boy, Alex Smith arced that ball nicely.
That's a really nice throw, and you'll see Josh in the slot here, and he just works off of a little pick by Ginn and gets himself open here, and they try to rub the receivers or rub the defensive back, and that's a well-thrown ball to the outside shoulder, away from the defender, and those are the types of throws that Alex Smith is absolutely capable of when he's given a chance and when he's given some time to throw it.
And 42nd catch of the year for Josh Morgan. Smith the other way.
How about that?
Adam Snyder, the backup guard, came in as a tight end or lined up in that position.
That was beautiful. Now, you know, if you're a well-schooled defense, you recognize that immediately because very seldom does the quarterback roll behind his play fake. And when he does roll behind his play fake, you're looking for that tight end screen, but you're not looking for a 60 number out there in the flat trying to catch it.
And if
you got Walker in the slot again, there's a matchup to watch.
We're going to hand it off to Westbrook. And you're right, Jim, the running game is just not there today. Darnell Dockett making the stop. Tom Sully got a kick out. He's having fun, even if it's just for one day as the head coach of the NFL.
Look at that. He's mocking Snyder, no hops. He's having fun. He's making it fun for these guys, and that was a good first quarter for the San Francisco 49ers.
As the clock runs down, they'll change ends. So an Alex Smith to Ted Ginn touchdown toss is the only scoring in the opening quarter, as these two teams couldn't finish 2010 fast enough. They hope for an exciting start to the 2011 year. Happy New Year. The NFL on Fox continues in just a moment. On 3rd and 8, Alex Smith has been terrific in the red zone, a top rating.
Yeah, you look at his numbers here, 9 touchdowns. He hasn't thrown an interception. He leads the league in efficiency in the red zone. This is a situation here you want to look for pressure from Arizona and look for him to try to find that guy right there, Vernon Davis.
Sets to throw, and the puncher eventually got to him. It was Darnell Dockett who dropped him near the 24-yard line. It'll be 4th down. Talk about not shutting it down. Dockett's motor keeps running.
Yeah, I watched Dockett in here with the stunt there. And this guy's a tenacious pass rusher. Now, he wasn't blocked there. Okay.
So it was easy.
He wasn't blocked. Mike Iupati, let him go. But this guy can do a lot of things. You can play him inside. You can play him outside. He's a good pass rusher. He's good against the run.
So Jeff Reed will try a 39-yard field goal to give the 49ers a 10-0 advantage. So San Francisco with a coaching change during the week, but going back to Alex Smith at quarterback, has a 10-0 advantage. And these two teams not involved in the playoffs, but this is the way it stands at the moment. Atlanta has the #1 seed, the Bears the #2, Philadelphia 3, and the winner of the NFC West, whether it's the Rams or Seahawks, will be the #4 seed.
Yeah, and I thought Tampa did a great job today, giving themselves a chance to stay alive with that big win at New Orleans. And now they're sitting on pins and needles watching that Green Bay game and watching the Giants game.
And if the Packers win, they are in as the final wild card. But at the moment, Tampa Bay stands in excellent position, and the AFC playoff picture, New England, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and the Colts will try to nail down their division. Jacksonville, a chance.
Yeah, and what Jacksonville's got to do is they've got to ignore the scoreboard. They've got to take care of their business, and they just hope that Indianapolis falters. But I think that's I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening.
Green Bay, Chicago scoreless. Some of the games we'll be keeping an eye on. And here, the 49ers in front of the home crowd, trying to win their 4th straight against the Arizona Cardinals.
So the Cardinals need to get something going on offense, Chris. Right now, even though they're down 10-0, I think they need to stick to the run a little bit, because they're getting themselves into too many 3rd and long situations, and they're just not going to be successful against this defense.
The kick bounces off the up band, and it's recovered or at least on top of it, the 39-yard line. Looked like the Cardinals had the recovery. Ball bounced off one of the special teams players for Arizona as the officials try and sort through the pile. Arizona does not want it. Boy, a turnover here, they'd really be in trouble. As Kerry says, clearly the Cardinals have the football, so they'll have pretty good field position, which is something that they haven't had so far in this game.
You're right. This is their best field position, and like I just said, let's run the football. If I'm Ken Wisenhunt, I'm saying, hey, let's run the football a little bit, and let's try to find a way to get in some situations on 3rd down where we at least have a chance to move the sticks.
2 tight ends are in. Jim motion. On the move and complete to Fitzgerald. Inside the 45. Well delivered by Skelton.
Yeah, I guess if you're not going to run the ball, then throw it to that guy right there, because this guy is undoubtedly one of the premier receivers in the National Football League, and you need to get the ball in his hands early.
80th catch of the season for Larry Fitzgerald. And all the way down to the 43-yard line. He'll be at the top of your screen on the right side as Tim Hightower checks in. Best offensive series so far for Skelton and the Cardinals. A penalty flag flies as Hightower goes nowhere. Larry Fitzgerald, you coached against him in Seattle, and he came up to you before a game and
this guy's a special guy.
asked for tips.
Illegal formation, offense, number 70 was on the end of the line and was covered up by an eligible receiver, making him ineligible after reporting eligible. The 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
That's on Rex Hadnot, the backup guard who's trying to maybe help out with the tight end shuffle. We talked about Spock injured moments in pregame warmups and Ben Patrick inactive.
Right. We were talking about Larry Fitzgerald, and we all know what a quality football player is, but this is a quality kid. What's impressive to me is the way he's handled this year. This has been a disappointing year for him individually, because their offense hasn't been productive as they have in the past, and yet you never hear anything from him. He never gripes in the paper. He's very frustrated. I talked to him before the game. He said, it's been very frustrating, Coach, but I'm a pro, and it's my job to support my team.
That penalty was declined, Jim, so on 2nd down, Skelton's a throw. They run instead and get knocked down at the 38-yard line, where it'll bring up another 3rd down. pickup of about 6, and Takeo Spikes, the veteran, delivering the hit.
Yeah, Takeo Spikes, he'll bring it. If this quarterback doesn't get down and slide, those linebackers like that. Fitzgerald, great. So you started to bring it up, Chris. Fitzgerald, I'm the defensive back coach of the the Seattle Seahawks, and he comes up to me before a game and he says, "Hey, coach," he says, "what do I need to do to improve? I know you've watched me a lot." I said, "I'm not going to tell you that. I'm getting ready to play you."
And he's still trying to get tips. It'd be a good spot to go to Fitzgerald on 3rd down. That's Hightower, and brought down in a hurry. They were trying to set up a screen. And Navarro Bowman, the rookie from Penn State, who's starting in place of Patrick Willis, was there for the stop.
Yep, they got themselves into a 3rd and manageable, but they still couldn't convert. The 49ers playing man-to-man defense versus a screen, and that's just a really good call by Greg Minuski.
Minuski, the defensive coordinator, is Patrick Willis, missing his first game in his career.
You think it's not killing him to stand on the sidelines and watch this game? That guy's a warrior.
So Graham's punt, they're going to try and pin Ted Ginn inside the 10. At the 5, he fair catches the football, so the 49ers take over with a 10-0 lead. It's a whole new year for 49er fans, for all of us, but 10-0 San Francisco behind Alex Smith, who's only 26 years old, but told us he feels a heck of a lot older. He said he wouldn't be sad to see this season come to an end.
Yeah, this is a talented young man. He's just been put in a situation here where he's been 6 different offensive coordinators, a lot of changes.
And here on 1st and 10 from inside his own 5, the give to Anthony Dixon falls forward. Let's get a game break. Check out the Packers and Bears. Here's Kurt Menefee.
It's a defensive struggle so far. The Bears, Jay Cutler gets sacked by Eric Walden. They have to settle for the field goal. Chicago leads at 3-0. If Green Bay wins, they're in the playoffs. If they lose and the Giants win, New York is in the playoffs. And right now the Giants lead Washington 3-0 as well.
A couple of defensive battles going on there. Those will go right down to the wire, both of those games. Those are 3 really good teams, and the Redskins are playing for pride.
And if the Giants and Packers lose, the Buccaneers make it as a wild card. They won earlier down in New Orleans as Westbrook carries. Darnell Dockett makes the stop. It'll be 3rd down.
And, you know, going back to Alex Smith, we were talking about Alex Smith, and this is a guy that is talented. He's very smart. He understands the game. He's got a nice arm. He can make the throws. He's got enough mobility in the pocket to extend a play. But unfortunately for him, he's been in a situation here where it's been a roulette of coordinators coming through, and it's just hard for a guy like this to get comfortable when there's so much change around him.
And we talked about speeding up the tempo. They wanted to do things this week, so all you'd have to worry about is the play and not who's lined up where and the play clock. As he throws a little high and incomplete for Westbrook on 3rd down.
Well, those are the kinds of throws right there that create doubt, because he's got Westbrook open on an option route in the flat, and that's a throw that an NFL quarterback should make 99% of the time. And so when he doesn't make that throw, you hear the boo birds, and it brings back all the bad feelings that have developed here over his career.
And it's your best guess that Alex Smith and Troy Smith, that neither one of them would be back here in San Francisco.
Well, I can't say that for sure. You know, Alex is an unrestricted free agent, so it's not only up to the 49ers, but it's up to him.
As Lee punts to Roberts, who's waving everybody away. The ball hits inside the 40, where the 49ers down it. And the Cardinal offense, which has excellent field position, trailing 10-0. Ken Wisenhunt called it the worst 17 weeks of his football life, and that goes back to a player and assistant. Said he went to notes from Bill Cowher when he was an assistant in Pittsburgh, and they were 6-10 to try and work through the frustration of this year. Hopes that John Skelton with the best field position so far to get the Cardinal offense moving. He gives to Beanie Wells, so a somewhat successful running play for the Cardinals. So far in this game, Jim Moore and Chris Myers enjoying from San Francisco, and again, Happy New Year. What kind of fight? Looks like San Francisco is just a little bit more excited in this matchup.
Yeah, it looks like the change they made at the head coaching position and the energy that Jim Tomsula brought is carrying over to what they're showing on the field today. They certainly look like the more inspired football team to me at this point.
And Ken Wisenhunt trying to sort through the quarterback shuffle and the running back shuffle as Hightower carries, flips back to Skelton.
for in Pittsburgh, but he didn't have Fitzgerald, so he had to go the other way. And as you said, it was just a little bit high and a little bit late for Andre Roberts there, and well covered.
So on third down, they have 4 wide receivers in. They only need 3. Trying to spread this 49er defense that has put a lot of pressure on Skelton. Here they come again. Picked up, pass complete for a first down at the 23-yard line as Max Komar, the rookie free agent from Idaho, hauls it in.
Yeah, and you know what happened in that 3 series of plays right there, Chris, is they started out with an efficient run on first down. Okay, so then they enabled themselves to take a shot on second down the field and try to make something happen. And still, if it didn't work, be in a third and manageable. And then they're able to, versus pressure, get the ball out quick and get the completion to Como.
First third down conversion of the game for the Cardinals. Wells the carry. Russ Grimm, the offensive line and assistant head coach, calling him a between the tackles runner. The rookie who has gotten better with picking up blocks, receiving, but they want him to stay healthy and be the go-to back.
Yeah, you know, when you're a guy like Beanie Wells and you were the feature back in college at Ohio State, the thing you come into the league lacking is the ability to pass protect. And you've got to be able to sort out the blitzers, and you've got to be able to step up and put your face on somebody that's rushing, and that sometimes is the last thing to come for these great runners coming out of college.
On second down, 8 from the shotgun. John Skelton sets up the throw, has time. Rolling right and running right. Getting out of bounds. Out of bounds, so it'll be third down.
Really good coverage down the field. You watch Larry Fitzgerald here trying to drop into coverage. Manny Lawson gets a hand on him, and then Shante Spencer's got him bracketed with the safety. So there's really nowhere to go. This is good zone coverage by the San Francisco 49ers. Ends up making Skelton flush to his right, and he gets out of bounds. Once again, we've got a third and long, Chris.
And Skelton grew up a fan of Steve Young. Running like Young on that play. Third down. Catch at the 10-yard line.
Now that is a really nice throw by John Skelton there. Okay, so you see a throw like that because they're doubling Fitzgerald under and over here, and he flips it in there. There's not a lot of room between Smith there, and he gets it in there. That's a nice throw. So you see that, and you say, hey, that's something to build on. Okay, so let's see more of that.
And he said, John Skelton, the windows are tighter in the NFL than in the college game.
Yeah, if you wait for a guy to be open, then he's going to be covered.
We have a challenge flag coming out.
Okay, well, this is Jim Tomsula's first challenge of his career. Let's see if he can win one. Did they challenge in NFL Europe? I don't know that. Do you know that?
He was a head coach for the 49ers this year. They're 4 out of 6 with challenges. He's questioning the feet, if both feet were in. And obviously, he clearly caught the football cleanly.
The ruling on the field was a catch being challenged by San Francisco. Timeout.
So the ruling on the field is a catch. The 49ers are challenging, and we'll take a closer look in a moment. Jim Tomsula challenging the catch by Fitzgerald. In your view, Jim Mora?
Well, it's clearly a catch. And I think maybe
the receiver, while in control of the ball, had his right foot down, then got his second foot down, maintained control throughout the action. Therefore, the ruling on the field is confirmed. San Francisco is charged with their first team timeout.
You know, Jim Tomsula never got a chance to throw a challenge flag when he was a head coach in the NFL Europe.
They didn't have that, yeah.
Well, this puts him in the books for sure.
Okay, and one more look just to confirm here, and they have 2 timeouts remaining in this half.
Yeah, and this is clear that Larry Fitzgerald gets his right foot down there, gets his left foot inbounds, clearly inbounds, maintains control of the football. That guy right there, he's not going to bobble many balls. I can tell you that for sure.
So it's first and goal. Fitzgerald is on the right, top of your screen for Skelton, who pumps, throws, end zone Fitzgerald. He grabbed it. Did he hang on for a touchdown, Cardinals? Yes, he did.
What I liked about that drive right there, 2 things. First of all, they ran the football. Second of all, who they involved? Larry Fitzgerald. And that's what you've got to do if you want to have success with a young quarterback.
And that wasn't an easy place to put the football either.
No, they're playing a bracket coverage. They've got him in and out with Smith there, and it's just a really nice high throw. You want to throw that ball face mask or higher into the end zone.
And the extra point, the Cardinals are within 3 as Fitzgerald hauls it in from the rookie, John Skelton. Cardinals take advantage of their best field position of the day here in San Francisco, and Larry Fitzgerald's 65th career touchdown. That's one behind Roy Green on the Arizona all-time touchdown receiving list. And for John Skelton, he has settled down a bit. Ted Ginn for the 49ers. Stopped short of the 20-yard line. Next weekend, the NFL's second season begins. The NFC's best teams go head-to-head to see who has what it takes to win the NFC Championship and get to the Super Bowl. Fox's coverage of the postseason begins with the NFC wild card next Sunday in high definition. With Jim Moore, Chris Myers, and glad you're with us here in the second quarter. Nichelle Turner down on the field. Check on Larry Fitzgerald. Looked like he landed a little bit awkwardly on that left arm or elbow and was getting it checked on the sideline. So from the 19-yard line, we'll see how Alex Smith and the 49ers respond. Anthony Dixon, the running back. Right on target for a first down to Crabtree. 101 catches now in his career, a 12-yard pickup. Let's take a look at Fitzgerald's touchdown catch on the back end of that.
Yeah, he comes down awkwardly on his left elbow there, and once he got to the sidelines, he was trying to work that out. I have a tough time believing this is in.
With time, flips to Dixon for a short gain. Darrell Washington, the rookie linebacker out of TCU, one of 10 rookies for the Cardinals, making the play, rookie on rookie.
Yeah, you know, Alex Smith looks pretty settled in the pocket right now. I think the Cardinals need to amp up the pressure a little bit and bring some guys at him. This is not a guy you want to let get settled in the pocket. First down throw, the deep out to Crabtree, that was too easy.
Second down, 8.
Here, it looks like they're going to bring some pressure here, and they are.
Anthony Dixon carries, so they'll bring up third down. After a gain of about 4.
The 49ers have done a nice job in this game, Chris, with their personnel, moving guys in and out and being a little bit unpredictable in terms of who they're using on third down. Here's a third down play, and they're playing with 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, and 1 running back. That's not a typical third down personnel group.
And Brian Westbrook, of course, an excellent receiver, and Delaney Walker.
Westbrook Walker on the slant route right there.
Smith goes that way for Walker. Off his hands, incomplete. And that will force a fourth down and a punting situation. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie back there covering. The Cardinals only used 2 defensive linemen on that play.
Well, they're going to put their linebackers in that can pass rush. You know, they do. Billy Davis does a nice job with personnel, and he does a nice job of trying to confuse the offensive linemen with multiple looks and different numbers in positions where you wouldn't typically see them. So you might see a 20 number like you do here lined up at an outside rush position. And so that just is designed to create problems for your protections.
Andy Lee with a lining punt. And take it in. Anderson brought down in a hurry. There's a penalty flag down as C.J. Spillman brought him down. And a flag comes in again after a 45-yard punt. Mike Carey, our referee. So far, 3 penalties against the Cardinals. And no penalties against the 49ers have been assessed.
During the kick, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 29, half the distance to the goal, first down.
On Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. And that'll back the Cardinals up. They took advantage of good field position before, but here they're going to be in a little bit of a hole. If you're both of these teams might be. Don't miss the grand opening of Bob's Burgers. It's a new addition to the Animation Domination on Fox. Entertainment Weekly raves A comedy this is well done and very rare indeed. Bob's Burgers, the premiere a week from tonight after an all-new Simpsons on Fox. Hightower somehow works his way back to the line of scrimmage where it'll be second down. And prior to that play, the Cardinal offense had been kind of picking up a little momentum.
Yeah, they got a little rhythm. You know, they had a nice mix between the run and the pass. They got themselves into some third down situations where they could convert. And you look at the numbers there, their last 2 drives, they've been pretty efficient. Now, this is a tough one because they're starting backed up, and they put themselves in a 2nd and 8 here. But if they can get something going and get some momentum, then this thing will turn out to be a very, very interesting game.
And so far, they haven't taken a whole lot of advantage of no Patrick Willis in that linebacking core. 2nd and 8, Skelton plants his feet and throws for Fitzgerald and hauls it in for a first down just short of the 25-yard line. And, you know, we mentioned Skelton said he grew up a fan of Steve Young, that gunslinger mentality with great mobility. But they tried to make him a Joe Flacco kind of guy. And then more people said, really, he's more like a Ben Roethlisberger type in terms of his frame and his physical build.
Yeah, I see him more as a Roethlisberger type. The guy's 6'5", he's 45 pounds. He's not really a scrambler, and Ben's not really a scrambler, but he has the ability to look over the rush and stay alive and extend plays in the pocket and fend off the rushers because of his size.
As Hightower is in, 1st and 10, he carries and has some room. Tim Hightower with a first down at the 35 of Arizona as they dig out of the hole. A 10-yard pickup. Now, Ken Wisenhunt said Max Hall was there before Skelton. He didn't think he was ready, even though he was drafted in the 5th round, and Max Hall was a free agent once they decided Derek Anderson wasn't the guy.
You lost me there with all these names, and that's been part of the problem. Is you've got Anderson, you've got Hall, you've got Skelton, and let's not forget that they started the offseason with Liner.
Yep.
So, you know, there's been, since Kurt Warner left, there's been massive amounts of instability there at that position.
The handoff to Hightower. It's a nice move, and another chunk of 10 yards from Tim Hightower. So maybe they are taking advantage of no Patrick Willis.
Well, it looks like they've made a little bit of a commitment to run the football here. This is a nice move here by Hightower on Shante Spencer there. And this isn't a guy that's fun to tackle. He's low, he's compact, he runs high. And you're getting a guy that's 6 foot, 225 pounds coming at you, and you're a cornerback. That's not what you want to see.
So they need a yard for a first down, and Hightower remains in. Fitzgerald in motion. Skelton to throw for Roberts, and over his head incomplete.
Well, that's a 2nd and 1 in the NFL is what we call a waste down. And if you're going to take a shot down the field, this is the time to do it. And they max it up. They block, keep everybody in to protect. They build a nice pocket for him. Then he takes the shot down the field to Roberts just out of reach. But now they've got themselves a 3rd and less than a yard, and they ought to be able to punch this one through and continue this drive. If they don't, then they'll be second-guessing that move to throw it deep there because they have had success running the ball.
Ray McDonald comes in on the defensive front for the 49ers. Jim Dre and Mike Leach, 2 tight ends for the Cardinals. A handoff to Hightower, and he gets the first down. I want to go back to Skelton because Ken Wisenhunt said he did show us some things that we weren't aware of. You know, we liked some things, but once he got out there, you don't know it until you see him in action.
I think he's got some moxie. You know, I don't think he's affected by things that are happening around him. He doesn't present himself as a rookie. When we talked to him on the phone on Friday, he didn't present himself as a guy that was overwhelmed by the situation that he's in. He seemed very comfortable in this role. Now, he's got a long, long ways to go, but maybe he's got the mental makeup that he can be a player.
And the handoff to Hightower. This time the 49ers are ready. Randy Lawson is having a big day. Takes us to the 2-minute warning after a 3-yard loss. The Cardinals only have 1 timeout remaining here in the first half. Their drive stalled for the moment at the 2-minute warning.
This is an interesting situation for both coaches here. The Arizona Cardinals only have 1 timeout left here, but they've got a good drive going. And now it's 2nd and 13. What do? Do you throw it or do you run it and force the 49ers to use a timeout to try to preserve time? It looks here like with an empty backfield set, they're certainly going to throw it.
Pressure coming. Skelton gets rid of it. High and incomplete for Roberts, who was in the clear, but Skelton felt the heat.
Yeah. And so now you've kind of played into the 49ers' hands, because now you've got to run it. In my opinion, now you've got to run it on third down, force the 49ers to use a timeout, and then punt it down the field. Because the chances of you converting, if you're the Arizona Cardinals on 3rd and 13, are slim to none.
But don't forget the 4th and 18 or 15.
Well, you're right. Last week, the 4th and 15.
4th and 15 against
Fitzgerald. That was a heck of a play.
So it's 3rd and 13. That's Roberts in motion. Skelton is going to go underneath to Fitzgerald. But that's Hightower. Tim Hightower catches it, but short of the first down after a 6-yard pickup.
Yeah, that's a good job right there by Tom Sula, calling the timeout immediately. He was prepared for that. We talked about it earlier broadcast, that he spent a lot of time this week on game management. And good football coaches, good head coaches, are good game managers. And he did a nice job of getting right to the official on the sideline, calling the timeout. And now he's going to get the ball back with about 1:42. A timeout, and a quarterback in an offense that's capable of getting down the field and at least getting a field goal.
He even put the glasses on to look like a professorial kind of coach. Coming up, the Visa halftime report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy, all the scores and highlights from around the league. Get you ready for the playoffs. The Fox Sports ticker will keep you updated with all of the stats. That Packers-Giants game, the Packers and Giants, both of those teams with playoff hopes. And of course, the Bucs, who won earlier, still alive. Highlights their win over the Saints. Penalty flag comes in as Ted Ginn has the fair catch at the 18-yard line. We'll get your thoughts on the playoffs in the second half, Jim, about the teams that are headed into the postseason.
There's no foul on the field. First down.
So the flag is picked up. Also in the second half, interested in your thoughts on maybe the coach of the year, the most valuable player. There's been a former player of yours, Michael Vick's had a big year.
Yes, he has.
And we'll check that out.
Well, I'm excited about the postseason. I think it's going to be a great tournament, especially on the NFC side, because there's a lot of really good football teams that are going to be playing over the next 4 weeks heading into Dallas.
The 49ers, the favorites in the NFC West, thought they were a team that should be in the playoffs. We'll talk about their search for a permanent head coach, at least for next year, in the second half as well here on Fox. So from a throwing situation, as a penalty flag drops, and it looks like already they're going to have a procedure call.
Ball start, offense number 19, 5-yard penalty, still first.
This is what happens to teams when they're 5 and 10. You know, the little things, the details. You know, the pre-snap penalties that put you behind schedule. Now all of a sudden it's 1st and 15. You're backed up on your 13, and it can change things for you in terms of how you want to approach this drive.
2 defensive linemen down for the Cardinals on 1st and 15, and 1 timeout remaining for each team. Smith tipped away by Paris Lennon, who has been the most consistent defender for the Cardinals this year.
Yeah, and how about his career? Now, he's bounced around a lot, but he's done a really nice job this year for the Arizona Cardinals.
Leading tackler on the team, coming in with 121 tackles. And it's been a pleasant surprise more recently with the Rams.
Yeah, and they leave him in on every down. This is a guy that plays on 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down. He's a versatile kid. And
dropped into coverage for the incompletion here on 2nd down 15. Westbrook is in, an excellent receiver. Instead, they'll run it with him. That runner either.
No, the guy has still got it. You know, he had the head injuries last year that derailed his career a little bit, but this guy's capable of coming out of the backfield as a receiver.
9-yard pickup, and we have a timeout. The Cardinals use a timeout. Just to review the 49ers season, Jim, they started out 0-5. Offensive coordinator Jimmy Ray was let go. The quarterback carousel, you've talked about that. Alex Smith with 9 starts, Troy Smith with 6 starts. Each were benched twice. Frank Gore, a reliable back with a hip injury in week 12, out for the year. And then Mike Singletary fired to start the week. So this is where they are, as Alex Smith, who is a free agent after this year, playing for Jim Tom Sula, the interim coach. And so we have a third down now as the Cardinals burn their last timeout.
Well, it's been a tumultuous season, but I think they've got a lot of character players on this football team, and I think they're showing it with the passion they're playing with today.
Cardinals could get a stop here. They might have time to get the ball, do something offensively, but what a run by Westbrook.
Get on the ball.
Who gets the first down?
Get up and go. Get up and go. You've got a chance now to get some points. We need to get a little sense of urgency here if we're the San Francisco 49ers offense.
And they still have one timeout.
Yeah, and this is where a guy like Alex Smith playing quarterback helps you because he's got command.
Smith from the pocket to Josh Morgan. He gets out of bounds inside the 43-yard line. Outstanding throw on a rope to Josh Morgan, and then Josh Morgan does a tremendous job of eluding the tackles and getting out of bounds so they can save that timeout for a possible field goal try. And here comes Delaney Walker back into the game, and he's the guy they like in this area of the field. And Josh Morgan, one of those character guys you just talked about, a 6th-round draft pick in his 3rd year who has developed and has played hard regardless of the situation. His 2nd catch of the game. Brian Westbrook is in as well. Morgan in motion, comes down to the bottom of your screen. Alex Smith to Morgan. Good move.
It didn't look like he saw the football. It looked like he pulled his hands in because he was a step behind the defender there.
How did he miss it?
Let's take a look at it here because this looked like a pretty darn good throw to me. He gets on top of the coverage. He's open. And he just pulls his hands in. And I don't know if the lights, I know the sun's not a factor.
No, nor are the lights. There's no rain and limited wind. I think Alex Smith is trying to figure out what happened there as well.
Yeah.
52 seconds remaining here. So 2nd and 10. Alex thought he had a touchdown, but he let it go.
Look at this, the same formation, the same motion. Let's see if they go back to the same play.
Oh, slam. Westbrook is brought down by Adrian Wilson.
Yeah, well, they're fortunate there that he dropped that football. They saved themselves yardage, and they saved themselves from having to call a timeout.
And Westbrook is down on the play. He has not gotten up.
This is a violent football player, Adrian Wilson.
Requires a team timeout.
Now the ball rolled out of bounds. And
there will be no 10-second runoff. The clock was dead.
The 49ers will call a timeout. And there's not a 10-second runoff because of the timeout. So 45 seconds remaining here.
Right.
And we hope that Westbrook, as he gets up and gets some help, goes to the sideline. Now, that was a vicious tackle, but within the rules?
Absolutely. Yeah, he didn't go to the head. It was, what you used to call the old clothesline. Yeah. But it was a completely legal play. This guy's a violent football player. He's not going to try to hurt anybody, but he's going to try to play football the way it's meant to be played, and that's hard-nosed. And that's why he's had such a successful year in the league, playing on a team that hasn't played very well. He was voted to the Pro Bowl because people respect the way he approaches his craft. This guy is a true pro. He's the kind of guy you want on your football team.
And he's the one who said the quarterback issue has affected the entire team in Arizona in their season. The Visa halftime reports are coming up here in just a few moments. You'll be updated on all the games that affect the playoff picture. As we have a 3rd down now for Alex Smith with Westbrook out of the game. No timeouts left. Dixon carries inside the 39-yard line, and the clock is running here.
That was an interesting call on 3rd and down, third down and 10 when you're out of field goal range to run the football there.
Now you don't have it down to spike it. You don't have timeouts, and that's a long way to try to set up for a field goal.
Yeah, that right there is a decision I think Jim Tomsula would like to have back.
So we have a 10-7 49er lead, and they have failed to add to that lead after a drive that look promising.
Yeah, that's a really disappointing end to the half for the 49ers.
And 49er fans have seen enough of this. We're at the half. 49ers 10, Cardinals 7. Fox NFL Sunday continues after the Visa halftime report coming up. Candlestick Park, San Francisco, and the NFL on Fox. And a Happy New Year from all of us as we begin the third quarter. The 49ers with a 10-7 advantage. And checking the John Skelton, who had 183 yards in the win Thursday night against the Cowboys for the Cardinals, and 110 of those receiving yards to Andre Roberts, having trouble completing passes downfield. Ted Ginn back to receive the second half kick, has a touchdown catch in this game from Alex Smith. And at the end of the first half, the 49ers missing an opportunity to try and add to their lead. Jay Feely with the boots. Ginn backs up. Takes it across the 20 and has some room near the 30. Spun around and knocked back down inside the 25-yard line. Alex Smith will lead the offense. The energy in a game that these two teams are out of the playoff picture, dealing with disappointment, trying to finish things up with a high note. Important for one of these teams to come away with the victory.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the way the 49ers are playing. I think they're playing with enthusiasm, they're playing with excitement, they're playing with emotion and passion, and they're doing it in front of a half-full stadium in a game that a lot of people don't think means a lot. But I think it's a credit to the character of their team, and I think it's a credit to the job that Jim Tomsula has done getting them prepared to play this week.
And as you pointed out at the start of the broadcast, Jim, as a former head coach, you see enough talent on both of these teams. And certainly, they're not that far away from being a division winner here in the NFC West. The Cardinals were last year as Alex Smith sets to throw. Over the head of Vernon Davis. Let's check in down on the field with Nichelle Turner. Nichelle?
Hey, guys. Well, first off, the 49ers say Brian Westbrook is okay. They do expect him back in the second half. I asked Coach Tomsula what happened there at the end of the half. He said it was a simple situation where he wanted to converse with the kicker and see if he felt good kicking a 53-yard field goal. He didn't want him just to do it just because, so they elected not to run a play there at the end of the half. I also spoke with Coach Wisenhunt, even their running game, so they'll continue to see that in the second half, and he said basically what he's telling his team is 30 minutes left in the season. Let's finish this out strong. Back to you.
Thanks, Nichelle. And Brian Westbrook, who took that tough shot from Adrian Wilson in on the carry. It'll be a third down play for Alex Smith.
I like the way Alex Smith has played in this game. He looks settled. You know, he doesn't look like he's thinking about the future. He doesn't look like he's worried about the past. He looks like a guy that is comfortable with the game plan. He's managing the game well. And he looks settled to me, in command.
Contract is up at the end of the year. Said he loves this area, met his wife here, would love to live here, regardless of where he plays. And he'll worry about that come Monday. On 3rd and 8. Pressure, picked up, throws, and has Westbrook, who spun around for a first down. And didn't go down easily. Adrian Wilson was hanging on to him.
And you get pressure off the offensive left side here, the defensive right side, and Alex Smith does a really nice job of getting rid of this football. But look at the pressure from Lennon coming off the outside, and he's unblocked. But Smith gets it out to Westbrook just in time, and he fights his way for the first down.
And for Alex Smith, you said he looks comfortable. We've had no turnovers. He's 10 out of 17. He had the big touchdown pass. Has his team on the move again, just short of the 41 of San Francisco. He hesitated, and now he'll try and go the other way for Westbrook, incomplete.
Well, that's not his fault. They're booing him a little bit. But what happened is Adrian Wilson was coming off the edge, and he got in his line of vision. He could not make the throw that he wanted to make, and then he had to reload and try to go to his outlet. But if you watch Wilson here, coming off the left side here, it looks to me like he gets in the line of vision, and he does. Of Alex Smith, he wanted to throw it quick, and then he just says, hey, I got to get us to the next down. Let's not make a poor decision. Let's get to the next down.
Adrian Wilson active in this game, and Norris running way out to the right, the fullback in a receiver position here. On 2nd and 10, Anthony Dixon the back, Alex Smith to throw. He's going to go in for the touchdown. 59 yards. Alex Smith to the guy who you said presents matchup problems.
Oh, he presents huge matchup problems. You know, you try to play zone on this guy and he finds the opening. You try to play man with the defensive back and he's too big. You try to play man with the linebacker and he's too fast. What do you do with a guy like Vernon Davis if you're a defensive coordinator? Well, I don't know that many people have found an answer, and this play certainly illustrates that the Cardinals have him.
Vernon Davis' 7th touchdown catch of the year, and with the extra point, it's a 10-point 49er advantage. They're leading Arizona at Candlestick. National as the situation stares you in the face, and he has become a leader on this San Francisco team. It's the kind of offense I think fans in San Francisco expected, with all the people to get the ball to.
This kid's come a long, long ways, Chris.
As Jeff Reed kicks off for San Francisco and Roberts back. Cardinals will try and respond here in the second half. And there's some room for the rookie who gets out to the 35-yard line.
When you look at the touchdown, you see a simple breakdown here by Paris Lennon. He's responsible for the number 3 receiver, which is right there, Vernon Davis. Watch the move Vernon puts, a little inside fake to get himself open. And then you're not going to catch this guy in the open field. He might be a tight end in his physical structure, but that sucker runs like a wideout.
Alex Smith excited, and so is the interim head coach, Jim Tomsula. And Alex Smith said, we always put in, there's a long list of plays for Vernon Davis in every game. Pressure coming, picked up, Skelton on first down. Running away from the action and throws it out of bounds.
I think it's the Cardinals had success in the second quarter because they ran the football on first down. And now they come out on their very first play of the second half and they throw it. Now, I'm not going to second guess what Ken Wisenhunt's doing. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's an outstanding coach, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
What about the fact that you just gave up a touchdown? You're 10
well,
down.
You're 10 down, but you've got the whole second half. So let's manage the game. We know it's going to be a close one.
He may have heard you. He runs with Hightower.
Yeah, but it's 2nd and 10 after an incomplete. Everybody in the building is expecting run.
Including Manny Lawson, who made the tackle, and now it's going to be 3rd and 10.
3rd and 10, and once again, not to belabor the point, but this team has really, really struggled in 3rd and longs, and this quarterback has really, really struggled on 3rd down in general.
Now, part of the excuse might be, well, we throw more because we're behind, but in this game it's been close, and you see that they've run more.
But that was when they were having success in the second quarter. I'd like to see them get back to that.
And they've actually passed more in this game, as we saw moments ago, and they'll have to throw here. Skelton unloads to the hands of Hightower. It'll be 4th down.
That had a chance to go now. Hightower makes that catch because they were the 49ers were bringing pressure. It looked like somebody missed their coverage on Hightower, and if he can bring that one in, he's going to go a ways. And when you're playing with a rookie quarterback and you're a veteran like Hightower, even though that's not a perfect pass, you've got to make those plays. You've got to help the kid out.
It's been one of the problems for the Cardinals this year. Ken Wisenhunt said our veterans who usually make plays, offensively, defensively, have not been consistently making plays, and it's hurt. As the punt goes out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Alex Smith and the 49ers get the ball back with a 10-point lead. The NFL on Fox from San Francisco. This is a Ray Smaltz production, directed by Derek Manning. And for our entire technical crew, Jim Moore, Chris Myers, Michelle Turner on the field, we wish you a happy, healthy new year. And for the 49ers and their fans, a pretty good start to 2011, even though they are wrapping up a season of disappointment. A 10-point lead and a 1st and 10 here. Just under 12 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Alex Smith with a flag down for Crabtree, incomplete.
That's a free play right there now. They blow that dead if it's a false start. And so Crabtree's got to go get that ball.
Offside, defense number 78. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down, 5 yards to go.
Alan Branch called for the offside on Arizona.
Well, this is the second time that Alex Smith's put a ball down the field and receiver hasn't gone and gotten it. And you saw Crabtree there. He led up early in the down. And Smith ought to be pissed. He ought to be upset because that's a freebie. That's a free play. You got to go attack that football, Michael Crabtree.
And Alex Smith indicating as much. They spread the field here on 1st and 5. Already 2 touchdown passes for Alex Smith. No snap again. He's got it. And gets rid of it. Penalty flag here. Remember, it was only 5 yards needed after the offside penalty.
Before the pass, holding, defense number 29, 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie called on the penalty.
Yeah, you look out here, you got Cromartie on Crabtree, and this is a good matchup, but Cromartie gets a little bit handsy here on the break, and you'll see him grab right along the waist there as he's looking back in, and that's a good call.
So from the 32-yard line, a fresh set of downs for the 49er offense. The rookie running back, Anthony Dixon, in and gets the carry. And gets up near the 40 and across the 40-yard line. Near a first down after an 8-yard pickup. This February, see NASCAR's biggest race like you've never seen it before on the newly paved Daytona International Speedway. You go 3 wide. Daytona 500, a history-making event, and the NASCAR season begins with the running of the Great American Race right here on Fox, a couple of weeks after the Super Bowl, which you'll see right here on Fox. Ryan Westbrook checks back in. 2nd and short. Westbrook carries. Ryan Westbrook down inside the 30 of Arizona. 30-yard gain.
You know, Vernon Davis, for all the great things he does as a receiver, watch this down block on Campbell here. I mean, you take a tight end and you're able to bury a defensive end like that, your running game is going to get going. So we've seen this guy stretch the field, down the field, and make catches for touchdowns. And there we see him make a heck of a block on the edge. Special player.
A season-long run of 30. His best. Remember, he had the 136-yard game against this Cardinal team on Monday night as Dixon carries here. That's one of the things some of the Cardinal defenders were talking about. Trying to take away that running game in this game today.
In order to play the run efficiently, you've got to be disciplined. You've got to play with great gap control, great leverage, great play entry, and everybody's got to be in concert on every play. And what happens too often to the Arizona Cardinals is they have a singular breakdown that ends up turning into a long run.
Saw Gabe Watson trot off, part of the beef up front on that defensive line. As Dixon remains in on 2nd down. That's Vernon Davis. Moving around in the slot on the left side. Alex Smith is on the move himself for Vernon Davis. Inside the 5, 1st and goal, 49ers. Alex Smith showing his mobility.
Alex Smith does a nice job because you've got Adrian Wilson coming off the edge here, and he's unblocked. And then Alex Smith recognizes and then moving out to his left, throwing against his body and finding Vernon Davis down the field. You know, that's an aspect of his game that people don't talk about a lot. He's not a runner, but he's got some mobility.
Enough to make a play. 3rd catch of the game for Vernon Davis. And Westbrook and Dixon are both in the backfield. Alex Smith, end zone, and crowded back there, incomplete. Vernon Davis seemed to be in the neighborhood.
Well, Crabtree and Davis talking there after the play, trying to figure out who that ball was designed to go to. And you watch Vernon Davis running the crossing route. And I think when the play breaks down, they're just scrambling around the end zone. Now, last week, this worked out pretty well for them because there was a throw designed to go to Vernon Davis that was over his head into Crabtree's hands that he went for a touchdown. That time it didn't quite work out as well.
So it'll be 2nd and goal. Brian Westbrook stumbles forward, crawls, and was down. He fell to the ground untouched, but was touched as he got inside the 1. It'll be 3rd and goal.
This is an offensive football team. Heck, this is a football team that's got a lot of individual talent.
Nope. After further review, they're going to say he crawled into the end zone before he was touched. So give Brian Westbrook a Niners.
Yeah, you know what bothers me about that play right there is I see a lack of effort on the part of the Arizona Cardinals defense. There was a lack of urgency to go make sure he was down and try to at least live another down. And that, to me, is not a good sign if you're Ken Wisenhunt. You're going to take a good, hard look at that in the offseason. You say, okay, who was there at the end when it was really tough, fighting their tails off? And that plays an indicator.
And that may have been part of what Alex Smith was talking about when he said you get up on these guys, there's the potential that they may shut it down. They haven't shut it down, but the 49ers behind Westbrook have the lead here in San Francisco. Jim Morin, Deshelle Turner, Chris Byers, and Brian Westbrook, his 40th career rushing touchdown.
This guy's still got it, doesn't he? I mean, you're seeing some good things.
And that drive, pretty impressive.
Very impressive, and I really like the way Alex Smith conducted that drive. I said it earlier in the telecast. He looks settled. He looks poised. He looks confident, and it's one bad throw, but it's great to see him having some success.
Andre Roberts grabs it on a bounce. Ball almost stripped out of his hands as he crosses the 25-yard line this Tuesday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. It's the return of $1 Million Money Drop. It's TV's most exciting new game show. You actually start with $1 million. The hard part is keeping it. And it's going to be all or nothing as the questions are entertaining. $1 Million Money Drop is all new, and it's Tuesday, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, only on Fox. Total yards this quarter. And that's the reason the 49ers have opened up the lead in a hurry. Now we'll see if John Skelton can rally this Cardinal team as he had to do in a game against Dallas. Looks like one of the officials.
We've got a contact issue here. We've got a
contact in the eye sense.
There'd be some that argue that it doesn't really matter whether he's got it. Now that wouldn't be me.
I knew you would say that.
That would not be me.
Wait, that's the old put on your glasses ref, right?
Yeah.
Put in your contacts.
No, look at Mike Carey. He's playing doctor. I have great respect for these officials. They really take this game serious. They're oft criticized, but these guys, they put a lot of energy, a lot of effort into doing a heck of a job on Sundays.
And they're going to play through it. That's what you have to do, whether it's game 6 or game 16. So 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. And Tim Hightower is in. I know you want him to run the ball, but maybe now it's time where they have to air it out, Jim. Trailing by 17. Pass underneath complete. Roberts with the Packers and the Bears are tied at 3. Green Bay, if they win, they get into the playoffs. Tampa Bay already won. They have to hope that the Giants lose. And right now they're winning over Washington by 10 in the 4th quarter. And Green Bay loses.
Yeah, that's a great race there. What a game going on between Chicago and Green Bay at 3-3.
Great defensive throwback style as the throw goes to Fitzgerald in a bit of a hurry up here.
Yeah.
Fast pace with a rookie quarterback who hadn't had a lot of experience.
Well, at this point in the game with the score 24-7, I like it because now they have an opportunity to find something out about John Skelton. How is he going to react to pressure? How is he going to react to having to throw the ball every down? And so far, 3 good completions.
Max Komar catches that one, and in the win over Dallas, it was Max Komar and Andre Roberts. Those were the 2 guys obviously more familiar throwing to in training camp when he was drafted in the 5th round out of Fordham. Fordham, of course, in New York City, and Vince Lombardi, the great coach, played there, coached there. Skelton from there. And it in the air and intercepted. Picked off by the 49ers and run all the way back is Ahmad Brooks inside the 10-yard line. Ahmad Brooks, a pass rushing specialist, but in the right place at the right time.
4-man rush here, and Skelton tries to step up into the pocket, and a good defensive lineman now they're saying if you're double teamed you can't get there, get your hands up and try to bat the ball, and that's what they do there. They get the batted ball by McDonald. Brooks picks it up, and boy did he want to score a touchdown, huh?
Inside the 10 at the 8-yard line, the 49er offense will take over once again. Alex Smith with a couple of touchdowns in the game and the first turnover of the game. Brooks gives it back to the offense. Westbrook is in. Westbrook carries and picks up maybe a yard or two. First career interception for Brooks. It looked like Skelton had somebody open when he stepped back before the ball was tipped in the air.
No, that's just an unfortunate play for him because he had a nice little drive going. But once again, you know, you teach your defensive linemen. In this case, it looks like Red McDonald.
Yep.
If you're batted up, in that case, batted up from interception.
2nd and goal. Westbrook. Touchdown. Brian Westbrook, another 6-yard score.
They're playing some inspired football today, the San Francisco 49ers. I give a lot of credit to Jim Tomsula and the energy that he brought to this team this week in what was a very, very trying week for everybody in this organization. And these players have really responded, and it's good to see.
As the extra point is good from Jeff Reed. It's now 31-7 49ers. It starts on defense with the turnover. And Westbrook punches it in. And here at Candlestick Park, the 49ers are putting on a show with Jim Tomsula. 49ers and an offensive explosion as interim head coach Jim Tomsula, who said, I'm a scheduler for a week, called himself Jim Nobody from nowhere. But he has been a defensive line coach here after coming from NFL Europe, and has the team playing well in their season finale. Roberts on the return. Dancing to the 30 and stopped just short, as Jim Tomsula has been fun to watch on the sideline.
Well, you know what? Football is a game of emotion, of passion, of having fun, of enjoying competition, and you're seeing all of that out of this guy today, and he's got his team playing that way. He's smiling, but he's still intense. He knows this is serious business. He's into the game, and I think his team's feeding off of him. And for him to be able to come in and have this type of impact in 1 week just says a great deal about him as a person and the way these players respect him.
On the other side of the ball, the Cardinals being exposed here as Skelton throws and completes. That's Preston just short of the 35 and crosses over. Let's check in with Michelle Turner.
Hey guys, just to add to the Jim Tomsula talk, you know, when I talked to him at halftime, I also asked him, Coach, so what's the game plan for the second half? Run the ball, big plays, what is your game message? He said, you know what, Michelle, I don't know. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I need to do to win this game. So he's a funny guy.
He's a down in the trenches old school guy, and they were favorites, the 49ers, to win this division after the Kurt Warner retirement. And the Rams in Seattle will decide the NFC West tonight. And both of these teams, with a few minor adjustments, might be able to challenge in the future as Vinny Wells carries.
Well, you look at these two teams today, and you certainly say that the San Francisco 49ers have an edge going forward. The reason I say that is that they're playing with more passion. They're playing with more sense of purpose. Their quarterback, who we don't know whether he'll be here or not next year, he is an unrestricted free agent, and there's a lot of speculation as to his future, but he's playing well.
And they're trying to figure out who the head coach is going to be. Jim Harbaugh, supposedly the head coach at Stanford, who's got his team in the Orange Bowl, is #1 on the list. We've heard Brian Billick's name. They don't even have their general manager decided upon yet. Trent Baalke is a name here. Pass complete for a first down, and Roberts drops the football as he goes out of bounds.
Well, they've got a lot of decisions to make, but one thing they can take comfort in is knowing that they do have some talented players on this team, and they are not far away from being an outstanding football team. They've done a nice job in the draft. All you have to do is look at their offensive line and the two guys that they drafted early last year, Yapati and Davis, and those are two really sound building blocks.
And you were skeptical about Skelton, saying it's too early to assess what kind of quarterback he's going to be, so the Cardinals have to think about getting a veteran or going back in the draft in that quarterback department. Beanie Wells is in on 1st and 10 for Skelton. Who throws for Fitzgerald incomplete. Let's get a game break. Check it again with Kurt Menefee.
Well, if the Green Bay Packers beat Chicago, they are in the playoffs. And right now, for the first time, the Packers have a lead. Donald Lee with a 1-yard reception from Aaron Rodgers. It's 10-3. Green Bay trying to march into the postseason. Chris and Jim.
Thank you, Kurt. And Aaron Rodgers would be one of your MVP candidates.
He certainly would be one of my MVP candidates. I think this guy very quietly has done an outstanding job leading that football team through a lot of injuries and coming back from a couple of concussions and playing at a very, very high level. And so he's got him knocking on the door of the playoffs right now.
And if Green Bay were to win that game, they would go to Philadelphia next weekend in the playoffs. Throws for Roberts. Sideline catch, no. Out of bounds.
This is a good time now for them to be throwing the ball and doing some things with Skelton, down 31-7 here, where they can further evaluate him. But I think that it would be a real stretch to say you want to go into the 2011 season with this guy as your #1 quarterback. I think they've got to address that issue. I'm sure they will address that issue in the offseason. They might do it in free agency and the draft, but it's something they've got to look at because they've got too much talent on that football team to be held back by a backup quarterback.
I wonder when Beanie Wells will emerge and be the superstar they hope. Pass protection. Wells is in as Skelton runs to the 48-yard line.
This guy's got some traits, Chris. Skelton's got some traits. He's big. He can seal the rush. He can run a little bit. He's elusive in the pocket, but he's still very, very young and very, very raw.
And Ken Wisenhunt said the toughness he showed of staying in there and looking downfield when the rush is coming instead of being panicked by that. In this case, a punting situation after they fail on 3rd down. And Kyle Williams, the rookie from Arizona State, is back to receive the punt as Skelton looks on. Graham with the boot. Kyle's going to let it bounce in an excellent position. A penalty flag comes in as Trumaine McBride makes the catch. He may have stepped out of bounds and come back in. And that would be a violation, of course. We'll check on the penalty here. The 49ers, 1 called penalty in this game, 6 on the Cardinals so far.
Well, 49ers playing disciplined football.
Let's take a look, see if we can see if he stepped out of bounds, because usually they'll throw a hat and mark it right away.
Yeah, I think Buddy Horton there throwing his hat. He stepped out of bounds. Buddy's brother, unknown fact here, was my roommate in college. How about that? And remember Ray Horton?
Yeah.
Oh, Ray Horton.
Played defensive back.
John Taylor beat him for the touchdown in the Super Bowl when we played for the Bengals.
Yes.
He's the defensive back coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's his brother right there, buddy.
And 49er fans remember that well.
Yeah, they do. And Ray probably doesn't want me mentioning it on television here.
The things you, boy, it's a small world with coaches and
sure
officials.
Is.
Illegal touching on the kick by the kicking team number 23. Went out of bounds with the first touch. Play results in a touchback.
You can't fault McBride there. Yeah, that was a good effort play by him.
So it's going against the Cards. 49ers have a big lead and they have the football. Jim Moore talking about MVP candidates with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers moments ago. Give us your 1, 2, 3 ballot here for the year.
Left to right. Tom Brady, Mike Vick, Aaron Rodgers. That's how I'd vote for him.
You're going Brady first over
Yeah, I mean, I think Mike has been spectacular this year, but he's got more weapons around him than Tom Brady does. Tom's had to do it on his own. And those numbers, 37 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, that's incredible. And Mike, you take his pass yards, combine his rushing yards in there, and he's right up there with those other two in terms of total yards. But I got to go with Tom Brady. What he's done has been remarkable.
Can't argue with that. You talk about quarterback play making a difference. Those teams obviously in the playoffs with their quarterbacks here. Alex Smith playing for a job somewhere next year. Maybe Arizona if he's a free agent, but the Cardinals want to sign him as Westbrook carries for a few.
Well, Chris, I don't think that's far-fetched. I don't think that's far-fetched at all. I think that Alex Smith has the ability to play in the National Football League. Now, at what level and as a starter, I can't tell you that for sure. But I think if you watch him today and you watch how settled he looks and he seems comfortable and poised, you say, hey, this is a guy that can play in this league and you can probably win some games with him. How much you're willing to bet on that happening, you know, that's an individual decision the organization has to make.
Ken Wisenhunt worked with a young Ben Roethlisberger as an assistant in Pittsburgh, and obviously the veteran Kurt Warner here didn't like what he saw in Matt Leinart as far as a fit. Maybe stability, a change of scenery for Alex Smith might benefit him.
Well, he's going to get a change of scenery, whether it's here or somebody else, because there's going to be a new coaching staff. At least there's going to be a new head coach. And so with that will come a change of scenery. And if he decides to go elsewhere, there's a change of scenery there. So I think there's a bright future for this kid.
Number 1 overall pick, and you see the number 2 quarterback for the Cardinals today. Derek Anderson is the emergency 3rd quarterback. That's Richard Bartell getting loose. You might see a change just to see what kind of game he's got before the season winds down for the Cardinals. Meanwhile, Alex Smith finishing strong, and that could have been intercepted. Michael Adams was right there.
Yeah, he's lucky that was, as you were saying, finishing strong. I was looking at a guy running into the end zone potentially. And the fans here,
the fans
well,
going?
Yeah, you know what? And that I think that has to factor in to Alex's decision, is how he's welcomed here in this stadium, because we've heard on multiple occasions today where he's made a throw that wasn't right on the money. They booed him quickly, and you know, I don't know that he can overcome that.
Check out the all-new Fox Sports app. We'll tell you about that after the punt, as Andy Lee is standing at his 10-yard line. And Ray Roberts, who's been busy, has to go all the way back to his 15-yard line and gets it back out there to the 24-yard line. The Fox Sports app features complete local and national sports coverage. Fox Sports Radio, you get live scores, video, and a lot more. Get the number 1 sports app in America for free on iTunes today.
Absolutely, iTunes. Huh? I'm an iTunes guy.
Yeah, you got a lot of apps. You had your headset on before as we were getting.
You know what app that I really like? I was at Disneyland, the Disneyland app. you can figure out the ride times.
It appears that Richard Bartell will come in for John Skelton, the free agent from Tarleton State, which is located in Texas.
Well, I would have not known that.
Well, he's 6'3", 230 pounds, and this will be his first NFL snap.
Looks like we're going to go back and punt it again here, Chris.
So he already had that moment delayed. We have an illegal man downfield, which will force a re-kick.
Well, at least he got to run out to the huddle one time.
And I guess if you're Ken Wisenhunt, you figure, well, why not here?
You know, I question this a little bit, and here's why. If you think that Skelton could potentially be a guy that leads your team or has a future with your team, then this is an ideal chance to leave him in and let him make some throws. Now, you know, maybe they feel good about Bartell as well. But, you know, the only guy that really knows for sure is the guy wearing the headsets there, Ken Wisenhunt.
And it's almost as if, well, we know what we have in John Skelton at this point. And with Derek Anderson.
I'm not sure you do know what you have in John Skelton at this point.
Well, maybe they're saying they don't know what at the quarterback position they're going to have to start from scratch next year, because Max Hall, as the punt goes back again to Roberts, and this will give him better field position. And Max Hall had been starting before Skelton, even though he was the free agent.
Yeah, it's they've got a lot of work to do as an organization to decide which direction they want to go at quarterback. So and maybe this is just part of the evaluation process right here.
Richard Bartell came in as an undrafted rookie with the Cowboys back in 2007. Released there. He was on the Browns practice squad. Jacksonville. Kicked around with Sacramento of the United Football League, the UFL. And gets a chance to play in the final regular season game of the 2010 season. What a year. What a way to start the year for Bartell. Preston in motion. They get the Hightower here at the 45-yard line.
Well, I'm going to go back and talk about the 49ers here and the way they're playing as a football team, and I think it's manifested in the way they're playing on defense with tremendous energy, a lot of passion, A lot of emotion. Here we are towards the end of the third quarter. The Arizona Cardinals only have 117 total yards. This is an inspired team.
So a second down for the Cardinals. And Richard Bartell, his first throw in the NFL. You don't want to forget, it is incomplete. Let's go back and take a look at the pressure. And Brooks, who had the interception moments ago, putting some pressure on.
Well, when you get a new quarterback in and you get a guy that's never taken a snap in the National Football League, what you do if you're Greg Minuski is you start bringing heat. You bring linebackers, you bring safeties. On the first play, we saw Deshaun Goldson coming off the edge, although it was a run. On this play, they bring Brooks off the edge, and that's going to be the theme from here on out is pressure by the San Francisco 49er defense on this young quarterback.
So he is number 2, and 2 on the depth chart today. On third down, Bartell, penalty flag.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 55 jumped into the neutral zone, causing an immediate reaction by the offensive player. 5-yard penalty. It's still third.
But now it'd be third and short, where possibly you can go back to the run.
You can run it or you can get it out of the quarterback's hands quick, but there's Greg Minuski right there. This is a grizzled old warrior right here now.
Played linebacker in the
NFL.
NFL.
Linebacker. You know, he loves ball. He's a football coach. He's got his cheaters on there, his reading glasses. He's got a little gray in the beard, and he's heating it up today.
Disappointed that Patrick Willis couldn't play today, but his defensive unit has done well as Bartell goes for Fitzgerald, and Larry hauled it in. So he can brag about that. His first NFL throw caught by Fitzgerald, his first completion, a 31-yard gain.
Well, this is just man-to-man coverage, and Fitzgerald, when you've got your back to the ball like the defender does there, it's tough to cover this guy because he just is so long. He's got great length. First of all, he's a tall guy, then he's got those long arms, he's got the big hands, and he's able to just go up and snatch that ball. There's not many guys that can win the one-on-one battle at the moment of truth against Larry Fitzgerald.
6th catch of the game for Fitzgerald. He has a touchdown. Bartell for Fitzgerald again. He falls forward at the goal line. Larry wants to score, but it'll be first and goal for the Cardinals.
Well, I guess if you're a young quarterback and it's your first time going on the field and throwing the ball, you throw it to number 11. Because there's a good chance that if it's anywhere close, he's going to come down with it.
Deshaun Goldson is the injured 49er who has not gotten up. He was back there covering when Fitzgerald made the catch.
Yeah, he looks a little shooken up. I'm sure he'll be okay. He's the University of Washington Husky. They make him tough up there.
And Bartell talking to through wins and losses. They help us out so that you can get the information you need. And Bartell has found a connection the last couple of throws.
Well, he's seizing the opportunity, isn't he? He's, he's taking advantage of the chance to get hit. He's pretty good.
A former SMU player as well.
Look for the fade out here, Chris. Look for the fade.
A chance to get the Cardinals in the end zone for Fitzgerald. He caught it. 49ers were back there. Nate Clements made sure that Larry couldn't get to it.
Well, Nate Clements was looking for the fade as well. That's a good play. Key here is you got to get your hands on Fitzgerald, and he's able to do that and still be able to look back at the ball. Too many defensive backs make the mistake of losing track of the football down there, and Larry jumps over the top. Nate Clements does an excellent job there of not only getting the redirect on the jam, but also looking back and finding the football and making a play on it.
Rex Hadnot has moved over to the tight end spot. Tim Hightower is in on 2nd and goal. Hightower and the 49ers are ready. That's a loss. It'll be 3rd down.
Great penetration by Ray McDonald made that play. They were just trying to run a power play to the right side, but Ray McDonald, that initial penetration into the backfield, stuffed that thing.
So it'll be 3rd down and goal for the Cardinals. 2 more cracks at it here, trailing by the score of 31-7 as we count down the 3rd quarter. Coach's decision for Skelton to go to the bench as Richard Bartell is running the Cardinal offense. Trailing, and although a disappointing season, hitting a high note here in their final game and at home against the division rival Cardinals, who have won the last 2 NFC West divisions.
How about some of the history
yes.
on this field?
When you see the signs in the background, 39 playoff games have been played here, 6 NFC championship games, and 49ers, the next head coach, will hope to return them to greatness. But here the defense on a 3rd and goal with young Richard Bartell and Roberts in motion. End zone overthrown for Hightower. It'll be 4th down.
And they'll go for it here. I think a good thing to do here is throw the ball up high to number 11 and let Larry Fitzgerald climb the ladder and go catch it. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't the primary on this play right here.
With one more catch, Fitzgerald will tie Roy Green for most Arizona receiving touchdowns at 66. Fitzgerald had one earlier in the game.
Look for Larry here to come underneath. And there he is.
Bartell trying to get it to him. And incomplete. The 49ers were ready for that as well.
Well, they were trying to run a little rub route versus man-to-man.
So the defense does its job, and the 49ers, with the lead, get the football back. Back here in San Francisco, and we'll cover the playoff picture in the NFC. Things clearing up. We'll update you on the Packers and Bears. Green Bay leading there with 2 minutes to go. The Giants leading with 4 minutes to go against Washington. Here in the 4th quarter, Dixon runs as a penalty flag flies after the 49ers defense made a stand. See what the call is.
Offside, defense, the nose tackle. 5-yard penalty, 1st down, 5 yards to go.
That always kills you as a coach when your nose tackle, who's lined up right on the football, is offsides.
And that's Dan Williams, the 1st-round draft pick out of Tennessee, who's been tutored by Brian Robinson, the longtime defensive lineman, 14 years playing possibly his last game, likely to retire. I know Alan Faneca on the other side of the Cardinals line talking about retiring as Anthony Dixon carries. And Jim, for a guy who coached in the NFL as a head coach and as a defensive coordinator and assistant here in San Francisco, when we talk about the glory days of the 49ers, it wasn't all about offense. Ronnie Lott, there's some great defensive teams and players here as well.
Yeah, there's some great defensive players here. And if you remember when it all got, well, Bill Walsh was an offensive coach, but then George Seifert came in and did a great job, and he was a defensive coordinator. You see right there, Eddie DeBartolo, he was kind of the common denominator between all of that, and he's a little bit back involved now, advising Jed York, who's the son of John York and the president of his team, in which direction to go in terms of general manager and the head coach.
Alex Smith for Vernon Davis, and tipped away, incomplete. Back there covering was Adrian Wilson, and I think it's a good thing for Jed York to reach out to Eddie DeBartolo, to talk to people like Robert Kraft, to get some assistance on where to go and reshaping the organization, looking for the next head coach.
Well, absolutely. You know, and Jed may be young. Jed's only 29 years old, but he's been around this business his whole life. And he's been around some good people. He's been around his uncle, his dad. He's been around Bill Walsh. And so for those people to say, boy, he's awfully young to be doing this. Well, young in terms of age, but not in terms of experience.
And I think fans appreciate the way Jed York stood up this week, so we should be a playoff team. There's enough talent here. We're going to hire somebody to try and bring back. We don't want to settle. There's been enough of that here as the 49ers miss the playoffs again. And another deep throw. This one out of bounds, intended for Ted Ginn. And when you talk about the coaches since 1997, Jim, and obviously if you don't have success, there's going to be quite a bit of turnover.
Yeah, that happens in this league. And you look, you know, Steve Mariucci there, I was with Steve that whole time here from 97 to 2002, and then they entered an area there. What you're looking to do is bring some stability back to this organization through the general manager position and the head coach position.
Lee from his own end zone to punt it. And Roberts will watch the ball bounce. He's going to grab it on the bounce right at midfield. More on the 49ers closing out this season on the Cardinals when we continue in San Francisco. Along with Jim Moore, Chris Myers, and Jim Tomsula. I guess if there's a coach of the day, if you give out that award, you can certainly give it to him.
Yeah, that's your coach of the day right there in the National Football League. He's been working at the the whole time we watched him at breakdown, they're talking to the offensive line. He's making the most of this day.
As the fourth, it was Tuesday. As Bartell throws underneath, Wells and hangs on. What about Coach of the Year?
Well, I think there's a lot of great candidates for Coach of the Year, and I look at these three specifically. Bill Belichick did a heck of a job, 14-2, with a roster that was decimated by injuries. Mike Smith, just great consistency. Todd Haley going from 4-12 in 2009 to 10-6 in 2010. And I think Lovie Smith and Raheem Morris would warrant consideration. But for me, just the job Bill Belichick has done is just so outstanding.
And usually you don't give it to a guy who wins consistently, but I hear you on that. And it seems this year, Jim, there are a lot of legitimate guys who have done outstanding jobs. Raheem Morris from 3 wins in Tampa Bay to 10. Lovie Smith, a guy who was practically on the ropes last year. You had Mike Martz, and all of a sudden they're the number 2 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, everyone's always looking for the guy that turned things around, but sometimes it's a guy like Bill Belichick or Lovie Smith who kept it going in the right direction that did the best job of coaching that year. But I don't think you can discount Raheem Morris. I don't think you can discount the job that Haley did, and I don't think you can discount the job that Steve Spagnuolo did.
That's right.
With the St. Louis Rams as well.
Martell sets to throw and has time. They're 10 seconds away from closing out the Bears, and Green Bay would get in as the last wild card, and then they would play at Philadelphia on the first round of the playoffs.
And I think a lot of times you become, you're a good coach, you become a good coach, and you get a head job in the NFL, but if you have an organization that's committed to you and will stick with you through the ups and downs, and you can get some continuity and consistency, then you have a chance to really be special.
On a 4th down play, Bartell overthrows Roberts, and Ken Wisenhunt is now learning the down part of the ups and downs as the Cardinal head coach. We'll have more in a moment. Back here in San Francisco, where a third quarter explosion allowed the 49ers to open up a 31-7 lead. As Anthony Dixon, the rookie running back, is in. Alex Smith has been sharp most of the day. Dixon gets the carry. And the final in as the Packers defeat the Bears at Green Bay 10-3. So they are in the playoffs as the 6th and final wild card. The Saints, who lost earlier today, are the 5th seed, the other wild card. So Green Bay will go to Philadelphia to play in the opening round of the playoffs, whereas the NFC West winner will host the Saints.
Yeah, that's amazing. The potential for the Saints to have to go to a team that's either 8-8 or 7-9. And I think that is an argument for the potential to restructure the seedings once the...
Are you in favor of that?
Well, I can't say definitively that I am, but I'd lean that way right now.
All right. As Alex Smith is set to throw. And for Crabtree, who falls down at the 40. And here is the playoff picture. And again, the Seahawks and Rams in Seattle tonight will decide that final spot. What New Orleans and Green Bay are in, and Atlanta, the number 1 seed, all they have to do is win 2 home games, and they'll be in the Super Bowl. Yeah, and they're very capable of that. They play very, very well at home. Of course, they lost on Monday night to the Saints at home, but they sure rebounded today with a resounding win. And I picked them at the start of the season, Chris, to be a Super Bowl team. So we're closing in on that. The Falcons. The Falcons. Wow. Your former employer. That's right. And Matt Ryan has been terrific, despite what happened in that Monday night loss to New Orleans. Well, Matt Ryan, Roddy White, John Abraham playing great on defense. The job that Mike Smith has done. Thomas Dimitroff, thank you there. Dimitroff. I think they've just really done an outstanding job as an organization of coming together with a plan and sticking to it. And that's something I think, Jim, teams are looking, whether it's the 49ers or those that might be changing coaches. You get a GM or somebody in those personnel, you get the right kind of coach who can work with that GM, and you build. Well, the important thing is that relationship between the general manager and the head coach, and that they've got the same vision for the organization, and that they trust and respect each other. And the Atlanta Falcons certainly have that right now. Alex Smith. And as a penalty flag comes in, it's Crabtree who came down with it. Crabtree played some hoops growing up in Texas. Well, he was getting a rebound there, and it will be against the Cardinals. First round pick out of Texas Tech at the length.
Pass interference, defense, number 29, is declined. Play results, first down.
Crabtree had the lengthy holdout last year, but has come on.
Yeah, Crabtree's becoming an excellent route runner. He sets him up with the inside release and then gets the outside cut. And this guy is able to maneuver his body in space very well. He's acrobatic in the way he catches it. I love the way he's able to stretch out and go get it. It reminds you a little bit of a guy that's playing on the other side, Larry Fitzgerald.
So you've got a 4th catch of the game for Crabtree. 1st and 10. Anthony Dixon carries. You know, Jim Harbaugh, if he is the top choice for the San Francisco 49ers, the Stanford coach, his brother John's done a good job in Baltimore. There was a report, we saw it on the NFL on Fox pregame show, that Denver may also have some interest in going in that direction. But sources were saying a package of as much as $30 million, not sure of the year amount, to try and get Harbaugh to San Francisco because he is ready to move to the NFL. But he may have some choices in the pro game.
I think he'll have some choices, and that'll all work itself out. But there'll be more than one team trying to go after Harbaugh, that's for sure. You mentioned Denver, and I'm sure that John Elway is very interested. There's the Stanford connection there. You know, it's a lot of money, but he's done a nice job in college. Now, whether or not that translates to being a successful head coach in the NFL, that would remain to be seen.
Josh Morgan with the catch. We talked about the NFC playoff picture, so you're up to date. Here is the AFC playoff picture. And the seeds are completed. The Jets are the 6th seed, Baltimore the 5, so the wild card teams that go on the road. New England 1 and Pittsburgh 2. Jacksonville lost today. The Colts also just pulled out a 3-point win over Tennessee, and they win their 10th game of the year.
Well, I look at these 2 wild card teams there, and those are 2 dangerous football teams. Baltimore is about as complete a football team as there is in this league. They play great on defense. They're sound on offense. They're fundamentally good in special teams. And then we all know what the Jets are capable of doing. Now, they're going to have to go on the road, but those 2 teams are scary.
John Harbaugh has done an excellent job.
Delay, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
For the Baltimore Ravens. And Brother Jim may soon be in the NFL mix. May be let go in Carolina. Russ Grimm, he told us before the game, hey, nobody's called me yet from Carolina, although his name has been mentioned as a successor to John Fox.
Well, I think it's the first thought is towards the families of the coaches that are not being retained, because that's can be pretty traumatic. I think we tend to forget about that. And then it's just all rumors and innuendo until something happens. You know, there's a lot of media speculation out there at this time of the year. I think it's somewhat sad, to be honest with you.
Incomplete for Crabtree. Job security tough.
Oh, there isn't any in the NFL. There's only a few guys that are head coaches in the NFL that have job security right now. And as soon as you take a job, you know, they talk about guys being on the hot seat. Shoot, as soon as you take a job in the NFL, you're on the hot seat. And, you know, we all have options. You don't have to take that job. But, you know, the men that occupy these positions, they love to compete. They love to be in the fight. They know they're going to get beat up a lot, get beat up in the media. They're going to have some tough losses. But you know what? They relish the challenge.
Andy Lee back to punt on 4th down, and Brian Billick saying on the pregame show, when asked about this situation, if he was on the list in San Francisco, potential candidate, he would only say that the coaching still it's in your system. It doesn't leave you.
Well, no, it doesn't, because it's such a rush.
We have a delay of game here, whether they want to back him up. Probably intentional to give Andy Lee a little more room, and they're going to decline it. So let's kick the football.
Yep. No, but it stays in your blood. You know, it just does. You know, that desire to compete at the highest level, that doesn't go away for these guys that have coached.
And you?
Well, no, I mean, you know, I enjoy this. I really do. I love being involved with Fox. But, it's just it's hard to lose that feeling.
And he drops it inside the 7-yard line. Nice work by Andy Lee, and the Cardinal offense takes over. We'll have more in just a moment. Cardinals on offense from their own 7-yard line, and Richard Bartell comes in for the rookie John Skelton. Derek Anderson is the 3rd quarterback. San Francisco has not allowed a 100-yard rusher. In 21, this will be 22 consecutive games. The way the defense is going here. Jason Wright splits way out on the left side. And to Fitzgerald. That goes down. You know, Takeo Spikes on this defense has taken a breather, and you can't blame him for his 13 years in the league. He's 34 years old, but when we talked to him, Jim, on the production meeting, you could hear in his voice after the 49ers were eliminated. He's never been to the playoffs in his entire career. I mean, he just sounded sad, depressed, angry, said he was going to play angry.
Yeah, this season has taken its toll on Takeo Spikes. A great pro, as you said, has never been to the playoffs. And this is a guy that re-signed, here with the 49ers with the thought that this was a playoff caliber team. And I think if you look at the individual talent, as we mentioned many, many times today, it is. But the disappointment that he had in his voice was resounding. And I think that today, and how they play today, will give him reason for hope.
John continues to move the chains for the Cardinals, and he complimented Patrick Willis, who's missing his first game in 4 years, for helping to extend his career a little bit, just like Willis talks about how Spikes was a mentor for him.
Yeah, those two guys work very, very well together, and I think they've got some years left together as well.
Fitzgerald makes the catch just across the 30-yard line. Near, it looks like he's a little bit short of the first down, at least. Bartell, and there is Patrick Willis. Broken hand and all, had surgery this week. Another Pro Bowl for him. Jason Wright carries for the first down. Up to the 40. Let's check in with Nichelle Turner down on the field. Hey, Nichelle.
Hey, Chris, Patrick told me that he's actually going to have that hard cast on until about Thursday. Then he's going to get a soft cast on. He said he was told that injury is going to take about 6 to 8 weeks to heal. He's ready to get back to work working out. He said he's going to start out just doing some cardio, even though he's not supposed to really work out because he just can't stay away from it. So for all the fans out there, he said he's ready to get back to work and get this thing going again because he's frustrated as well, just like you guys were talking about Takeo. Back to you.
Thanks, but he can be happy with the way that the team played today, and they will be out of the cellar in the NFC West Division. And Roberts can't catch the throw from Bartell. You saw Breston make the catch before, and Steve Breston, a free agent after this year, and has had some knee injuries. Some question about whether he'll return.
Well, this Arizona Cardinal team lost a lot of key players in the offseason. We've talked about Kurt Warner, but Carlos Dansby, Antrell Roll, Anquan Bolden. And when you lose a guy like Anquan Bolden, who was such a tough, hard-nosed, physical player, you lose a little bit of your identity on offense. And Breston, he was a slot guy. He was a third guy. He was a number 3. He was a very good number 3 with Bolden being the number 2. And now he's thrust into that number 2 role, and I'm not sure that that's the best role for him.
Jason Wright carries. And for Larry Fitzgerald, it certainly had an effect on his game. Although in this game today, for Larry, 9 catches over 100 yards and has the touchdown.
It's good to see him finish the season with a good, strong performance. I'm sure that'll do a lot for his psyche going forward in this offseason.
Sacked by the 49ers. They've had excellent pressure all day. That is the 5th sack of the game. Cotton Bowl coming up on Friday. LSU, Texas A&M, and Cowboy Stadium where the Super Bowl will be played. You'll see it all on Fox. On second down. Flag is down. Bartell dumps it to Wright, and he goes down. Had 11 penalties combined in this game.
Offside defense, 5-yard penalty is still second down.
And we mentioned the Cotton Bowl. Von Miller, the Butkus Award winner. And you're a guy who follows a lot of the college talent. I know at the Combine last year, you see the guys who are on their way to the pro game. You'll see him in the Cotton Bowl, the 75th AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic.
This guy is a heck of a football player. He does a lot. You see he's got 9.5 sacks. He's got 3 forced fumbles. He's got tackles all over the field. A very versatile athlete.
Patrick Willis has been one of the great linebackers since coming into the league. Pass is intercepted. Bartell is picked off. And Terrell Brown. Richard Bartell picked by Brown at 62 yards later. 4 points for the 49ers.
Yeah. That's just a poor throw right there. They're just playing a 3-deep zone, and Brown is responsible for the short underneath zone. As you can see here, Bartell just leaves this ball behind him, and it's a poor throw. It's an ill-advised throw. It ends up pushing the score to 37, soon to be 38-7, and I'm sure very disappointed for this young man, because he's done a decent job coming in here in the second half.
You know, you wonder, Jim, if he thought you have to always be ready, but how much he'd get into a game like this when Skelton came off the big win against Dallas.
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't expecting to play a lot, but as a professional, you've always got to be ready to go in there and perform. And he's performed okay. This one is, that's his. You look at this interception here, and you see Brown, and he's just a flat defender out here. And when the ball is thrown, you'll see Roberts in the flat here, and the ball just gets left behind, and he makes an
great win against this Arizona Cardinal team. Cardinals winners of the last 2 NFC West Division titles. Before that, Seattle owned the division, and they have a chance tonight with the Rams to get back into the playoff picture. But the 49ers were the favorites this year.
And based on what we've seen today, they should have been. And it comes down to really, in my mind, one thing, and that was just either inconsistent play at quarterback or the lack of conviction and staying with one player there and building a solid running game and playing good defense and managing the quarterback position.
And that goes back to the head coach, and you wonder if the 49ers had made a decision earlier. You know, like Leslie Frazier in Minnesota, who looks like he'll keep the job there, taking over. Jason Garrett in Dallas the same. And here Ken Wisenhunt came to Arizona, changed the culture, and got the team into the playoffs, into a Super Bowl. And now is going to have to fight through his first losing season as a Cardinal head coach. Jeff Reed to kick off. Just over 4 minutes to go, and Stephen Williams is back. Williams, a rookie receiver for Arizona. Brought down at the 26-yard line. And if you tuned in a little bit late, it started with Alex Smith to Ted Ginn. 49ers led. And then Larry Fitzgerald on a touchdown toss from John Skelton. And after that, more 49ers. Vernon Davis in the clear. Brian Dawkins, or I should say, I'm sorry, Brian Westbrook. Brian Westbrook with 2 touchdown runs. In the third quarter, they exploded for 4 points, and here Terrell Brown, his first NFL touchdown off the interception return. And again, Bartell replacing John Skelton in the second half. And Fitzgerald going high to make the catch. Fighting to the end, trailing by 31.
Well, that's what this guy is. This guy is a great competitor. You never hear anything negative come out of his mouth. He's all about team. He's all about doing whatever it takes to try to win. And here he is with 3.5 minutes left in the last game of the season, a game they're not going to win. They're going to end up 5-11. He's still competing his tail off, and that's why he is so well respected in the National Football League.
His 10th catch of the game. You saw number 12, Andre Roberts, the rookie receiver, standing over near Larry Fitzgerald as that goes through the hands of Stephen Williams. And the young receivers hang around Larry Fitzgerald. Some have gone to his receiver camp he has every year in Minnesota when veterans come out, and they watch him.
Well, they should.
See what he does.
If I'm a rookie receiver and I have the opportunity to be on the same field as Larry Fitzgerald, I'm going to do everything that he does. What he eats for lunch, I'm going to eat for lunch. When he lifts, I'm going to lift. When he runs, I'm going to run. It was like that when I was here with Jerry Rice. And Terrell Owens was a young player here in San Francisco. And we had, Jerry had probably the greatest work ethic of any player I've ever been around.
Cardinals call a timeout here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, I just want to make sure.
Never stopped working. And those young receivers hung on him like he was the Pied Piper, and they tried to emulate everything he did, and a young Terrell Owens saw that work ethic that Jerry exhibited every day, and he tried to emulate it, and in turn, because of his physical skills and his work ethic, he became a great player in his own right.
And Jerry Rice was one of those guests of Larry Fitzgerald at his receiver camp last year in Minnesota. We're glad you're watching the NFL on Fox, no matter who you're a fan of, and next weekend the Packers will play at Philadelphia against Michael Vick and the Eagles. Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay go there. And Drew Brees and the Saints will take on the winner, whether it's St. Louis or Seattle, the winner of tonight's NFC West Division matchup. And they will be the home team against the defending Super Bowl champion Saints. Larry Fitzgerald comes back in on second down. Bartell from the pocket. Throws, and that's a nice catch behind Max Komar, but he held on. Speaking of Fitzgerald, he has 10 catches today, but 13 is his career best as the clock is running with 2:50 to go. After the 13-yard gain, looks like Komar is in pain over on the sideline. Bartell getting to air it out. 1st and 10 Cardinals. Pass is complete inside that's Stephen Williams. Inside the 30 down to the 26-yard line.
Well, the 49ers now, they're just sitting back in a soft zone, and they're letting them complete things underneath. They don't want them to get out of bounds there, but they've kind of called off the dogs in terms of pressure. And, they've got this one locked up, and they're probably just trying to protect that end zone. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to, getting away from this game for a second. I'm looking forward to that game between Philadelphia and Green Bay.
Your two MVP candidates are Rodgers.
That's going to be a doozy, man.
And Michael Vick.
Oh, goodness sakes, is that going to be fun to watch.
1st down. 2.5 to play. Bartell. That's Williams again. Free agent from Idaho. Michael Vick, remember, won a playoff game up in the cold of Green Bay as a member of the Falcons, a road win.
Not many teams have gone into Green Bay in sub-zero weather in January and won playoff games, and Mike Vick did that early in his career. It was one of the things that, boosted him to prominence.
Bartell high for Fitzgerald, incomplete. He's become obviously a much better passer in Philadelphia with Andy Reid and applied himself after what he went through, but now he'll be at home against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. We've hit the 2-minute warning here as the Cardinals and 49ers are just about ready to close out the 2010 season. And important for San Francisco to get out of the cellar. Justin Smith going to the Pro Bowl. What an effort from this 49er defense today. Bartell's throw. Jason Wright out of bounds, and that should take us to the 2-minute warning. So 2 minutes remaining in the season for the 49ers and Cardinals. We stayed rain-free here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, but a little bit of a chill in the air on the second day of 2011 as Larry Fitzgerald has had a busy day with 10 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown. And one more touchdown, he would equal Roy Green for the career leader in touchdown receptions in the history of Arizona Cardinal football. Let's see with young Richard Bartell, his first NFL game, NFL action regular season, with a 1st and 10. Pass complete. Down near the 1st down marker. Looks like Reggie Smith went down, the safety for the 49ers, in pain. As the clock continues to run, you see the timeouts remaining for Arizona. There are 2 left there. At the 7-yard line is where they mark. Wrap up here, and they'll have the complete playoff picture, starting times, matchups, highlights of games during the course of the day. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Jimmy, Michael will bring you some of the interviews. It's America's #1 postgame show. The OT presented by Lowe's is coming up right after this game. And the playoff specifics of the AFC and the NFC. You saw Alex Smith, former #1 overall draft pick, had quite a day today. 15 of 29 with a couple of touchdowns, and can afford to smile because...
Well, there's a couple of reasons he's smiling, as he told us on Friday. #1, he had a good game. #2, this season is over for him.
And this stretch of up and down and coordinators in San Francisco. On 2nd down 2, Bartell's pass is tipped away and almost intercepted. Looked like a couple of 49ers had a shot at it. The AFC playoff picture, Jim, We talked about it, and now that they're all set, these specific matchups, why don't you give me your thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens going against the Chiefs and the Jets and Colts?
Well, those are two great games. I think, the Jets and Colts have quite a history. And the Ravens are a team that, like I said earlier, they're just a very complete football team. I like what Kansas City's done this year, but I think that the Ravens are a team that is really dangerous going into this playoff.
Jason Wright carries. Certainly the Steelers, as Arizona calls a timeout. Remember, they didn't have Ben Roethlisberger at the start of the year. The Ravens, people got on their case whether they lost their running game. That's returned in time with Joe Flacco continuing to emerge. The Jets are tough to figure. The Hard Knocks, all the exposure, a lot of talk, and a lot of Super Bowl discussion for them early in the year.
Yeah, it seems like they've gotten their mojo back a little bit here late. I think Sanchez has pulled it together. The guy's a winner. Mark Sanchez is a winner. He might not always be pretty doing it, but we got to remember he's only in his second year, but you can count on that guy to win football games.
First and goal. Martell trying to get the Cardinals in the end zone. Fitzgerald has it, and they're all over.
The guy's still fighting. The guy is still fighting.
11th catch of the game for Fitzgerald. People pick on the NFC West with the record, but in the last 5 years, they're the only division of the NFC that's had a representative more than once go to the Super Bowl, from all the way back in Seattle and, of course, Arizona. And second down, the clock runs. Pass underneath. Jason Wright. It's down to the 5-yard line. It'll be third and goal. The OT with all the highlights that we talked about. And we have another timeout by the Arizona Cardinals. It's just a tough break when you're the Buccaneers and you win 10 games and you're going to be sitting home watching.
Yeah, especially when there's two teams. One, they've got Tom Sula with the water. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? He's got to love it. And you know what? That right there, that shows the affection that these guys have for this man right here, Jim Tom Sula, how much they care and appreciate it, and it was manifested in the way they went out and played today. They played with emotion, they played with passion, and they showed what they're capable of becoming as a football team, and very, very quickly.
Defensive line coach who's been here has the respect of his players. If you're a new coach coming in here, do you say, hey, maybe we keep Jim Tom Sula around?
Well, I'm sure that any coach that comes in here will certainly consider him. This guy's not only because of what he's done today, but he's a very, very good football coach.
Martell on the move, in trouble, and just tries to get rid of it. Smothered by Ahmad Brooks. And from the start, this defense has set the tone. It'll be fourth down.
They've been an impressive defense all year. And like I said, what I'm excited about for this organization is the future's bright. And this year was a downer for them, all right, and it was very disappointing. But you look at the way they play today, and you look at the talent they've got on this field, you say this is not an organization that's a long ways from winning.
The fans that have stayed want to stop. The rain is starting to come down, and Bartell. And pass for Fitzgerald incomplete. The defense does its job. And they can say so long to the 2010 season. And for Jim Tom Sula and the 49ers.
That feels good right there, doesn't it?
An enjoyable moment.
Oh, yeah. He grabs Greg Minuski and he gives him a hug. He's telling those guys, hey, thanks for your support this week. I know it was hard. It's hard to see me get elevated to this interim position over you, the coordinator, but I appreciate you.
You hear that cliche, Jim, about, one game at a time. Well, for this one game, it was an enjoyable moment for Jim Tom Sula. And that's it. The 49ers with a 38-7 home win. And interim coach Jim Tom Sula gets the victory against the rival 49ers. We'll have more from San Francisco in a moment.